Hello, welcome back to the Rainbow Six Siege Jönköping Major here at DreamHack Winter. We're having a fantastic time as we gradually progress to finding out who will be in our grand final. We already know that one of those teams will, of course, be BDS. And we are a best of 3 away from finding out who their opponents will be. I know that they are both waiting just here, behind this curtain, ready to make their way onto the stage, so I'm not going to keep them waiting any longer. The first team are an undeniable wrecking ball of a siege machine. They are yet to drop a map. The undefeated W7M. Now, you heard from the horse's mouth yesterday that this is their year. They've already beaten their old rivals. Can they beat their new ones? It's Team Liquid! So we know that BDS are, of course, waiting in the final. Which of these two teams will join them? Before we see them step into the server, let's see them face to face.
I think the victory in semifinals is gonna mean a lot because we wanna be sure that we are the better team in Brazil. I think the match wasn't easy. It's more like our play style fits their play style. No, they play a little slower. We know how to counter that and play around that. So I think it's more like this, you know. Liquid is really good too right now with Lagones. They won against FaZe. That's a tough match, and I think it's gonna be who wins against us and Liquid is gonna win the tournament for sure.
W7M, they are a great team. I think, in my opinion, they are the favorite to win the championship, but we are here to prove the opposite. I'm feeling great to play against them and have a revenge from the Copa Elite 6. I think it's gonna be like a good match, but let's see how they feel in a semifinals, in a major against us. And we have a lot of experience, so I hope we can have this and use this to win the match.
Hey guys, I know that you are a really good team, but we are unstoppable right now. It's over, man. Let's go.
We are Team Liquid, and we are here to claim the championship that we have never won. It's gonna be this time.
Fighting words here between both of our two teams. I'll never get over this. Liquid and W7M set now on the stage. We'll break things down for you here on the analyst desk to get you ready for our all-Brazilian matchup. They'll determine not just the grand finals, but also the best team in Brazil, at least internationally. Hello, I'm Elisha Medic, your host. With me are now Anne and Fresh. Hey, Anne, how are you today?
I'm doing really good. I'm very much excited for this matchup. Indeed, like you said, we'll find out the best team from Brazil, and also who's going to face BDS tomorrow to get really close to that trophy.
Jackers, it's been a good day.
It's been a good day so far. We've had 3 maps. We've had a somewhat close game, but to be honest, this is one I've been waiting for.
Now, this is the trifecta that we talked about earlier on today and yesterday between W7M, Liquid, and FaZe, that FaZe can beat W7M, Liquid can beat FaZe, but then W7M can beat Liquid. So it's all over the place. And yesterday came out on a limb and said, you know what, Liquid might not be able to do it against them, but who knows? This is why we're here to break it down. Now, but we talk about, I guess, the legends of this stage, Team Liquid. Do they have what it takes today?
They might have what it takes today. It's going to be a really difficult matchup for them because in recent history, it's been W7M that came out more victorious. But Team Liquid, it's a team that can have all players be all over the scoreboard. The games feel more like a team effort rather than one player sticking out consistently. But one player that we do really need to talk about is Lagones, the newest addition on this roster, the IGL, who actually won the Mexico Major with his former team, Team 1. He's the player that gets to plant down a lot of times and a very, very consistent player as well.
That team aspect for me is something that I picked up on as well, which was like Team Liquid are the team has ran through their opponent or Team Liquid get run through. It's never down to the close rounds or the 1v1s consistently. It's just a lot of very good team play that either works 100% and it's like a 5 flawless round, you know, only losing 1 or 2, or Team Liquid will lose the round quite convincingly. But their team play has been excellent this far this major.
Yeah, we saw really good examples of that yesterday of the team play. They had so much information on the enemies, a lot of drones. There were constant yellow pings. They had really good information on where these enemies were. Eventually, it got a little bit less. There came counters from FaZe with the Mozzie that started hurting them a little bit. Also, their retakes on Clubhouse. When FaZe actually got the diffuser down, Liquid was able to retake that, win the round eventually, and that is something that I really want to see more from them today.
All right, along the line for Team Liquid, like Lagones was saying, that this team has never been able to pick up a major trophy. He was able to in Mexico in 2021, and well, Nesca's been able to collect the Pro League trophy way back in the day. If we're talking in Season 7 of Pro League in Atlantic City, it's a while ago. So you need to kind of get out of those laurels and now look towards the future. And for a lot of people, Brazil's future is W7M. Can they do it today?
Well, it seems like a long, long time ago, Milos, during Stage 1 when people were saying W7 Major, like, oh my days, these guys can make a major. It'll be unheard of. And now they're at every major and they're expected to win the tournament.
Undefeated here!
Undefeated, not dropped a map. The word I've got for them, if I could summarize them in one word, it's explosive. It's, you know, I don't want to be too critical of them. The strategy is basic, but then they have these big explosive moments in so many rounds where they just, a switch clicks. 4 seconds later, they've had like 3 or 4 kills and the round's over.
They've not been in their finals yet, right? They got eliminated in the semifinals in Berlin by FaZe, and they didn't make it out of groups in Charlotte. Domestically, they've had a really good success story. They won against Liquid actually quite a few times. Also during the Copa Elite, they played the upper bracket finals, played 2-1 versus Liquid, then into the finals, a 2-0 victory for W7M. You know, their success internationally can rise as well, and this might be the moment that they actually make it through to the actual final.
It's a big opportunity for both of these teams, and so, even more importantly, are the maps for this series. Again, a 9-map pool is what we have here in competitive Rainbow Six. We're starting off with W7M's first pick. They pick Clubhouse. They go for Skyscraper, Liquid. Okay, I'm very, very keen on that, because we haven't had a Skyscraper here in the playoffs yet. And then Villa as our deciders. Very quickly, on the outside, does this make sense to you, Numbers?
Well, you talked about a 9-map pool. Both of these teams, especially yesterday, showed that they had a 9-map pool when Liquid played Clubhouse and won it, when W7M played Theme Park and won it, because those were the permabans and low preference. Both teams here have picked a low preference map of the opposition. So you would expect both teams to win their map pick and then go to the decider, but this is last time where they all play 9 maps and they all play them well.
I had Skyscraper potentially as a Liquid ban as well, considering they haven't really played this map at all in the past 4 months, but they then don't really ban it either. It seems to me about that they don't mind playing, but they just don't get to play it that often. However, for W7M, it is a pretty good map. They've won 2 games on it. It's also on a rare occasion because W7M doesn't play that map either.
Players are ready, so I'm going to be very brief about this. Who takes Club?
You would have to say W7M. They're unbeaten on it since May. And even though Liquid came out yesterday and put on a masterclass against FaZe, it has been their permaban for a long, long time. W7M were in that Group C, that Clubhouse of Death, I was calling it, the Group of Death, where they all love Clubhouse. So I'd have to back W7M on that map.
I will have to agree with you on that, because it's their best defensive win rate they have over all these maps. Funnily enough, it's their attacking win rate that isn't really the greatest, so they're really going to have to make the difference on their defense.
All right, thank you very much, friends. That is it. Clubhouse is set to go, and the numbers say W7M, but that's in the server for us to see and decide on. Let's then toss it to our casters. We're ready to go.
Welcome, everybody, to our second matchup of the day. One of these Brazilian teams will go to the grand finals tomorrow, and if you just watched, you'll see that they'll be squaring off against Team BDS. Now, very different stories here for both W7M and Team Liquid. Team Liquid, one of the most storied teams in all of Rainbow Six Esports, but they've only ever won a single international event, and that was the Atlantic City event.
Yeah.
And I wonder who they beat on the way there. But I have this bout of amnesia, Nick, and I can't remember. Anyway, we'll just glance past that. Other than that, Team Liquid coming in second place a number of times and just ultimately falling short. W7M started off the year as one of the most formidable teams.
Yep.
And then the issues in Charlotte, and then a disappointing result in Berlin prevented them from making deep runs. But here they are, not having lost a map in ages. It was CES the last time they lost a map. And they're on what? It's an 18 match win streak. Is just phenomenal. These are two Titans going head to head. W7M, the only team ever since the institution of this new system to go 6-0, undefeated in the groups, and it was very well deserved.
No, it was. I mean, I see people putting up things like, is W7M on a statistical streak on the level of G2 back in their prime? Because they do not lose very frequently, but the thing is, they've also yet to win a big international event. Sure, in Berlin they fell short, but they fell short to FaZe, a domestic matchup where they know each other so well, and W7M has said it themselves, if they can avoid FaZe at this event, they expect to go far. And in that player interview with Julio before this match started, he said, Liquid, they have no chance in this particular matchup because W7M, they're coming out with so much confidence from groups. They're going to take that with them, carry it forward, and start off things strong on Clubhouse.
Great synergy as we launch into the server on Clubhouse. The first bomb site will be upstairs on gym and bedroom. Team Liquid starting on defense. Operator bans. Double hard breachers.
Again.
And a Maverick ban is an interesting one. Not the usual hard breacher that we see removed from action on this map. What do you think would lead Liquid to take Maverick out of play?
Honestly, my expectation here is that Liquid wanted to ban Kaid themselves to make sure that the breach is always easy to get through. And then they say, well, if the Kaid is banned, it's like, well, we can also just remove Maverick and make things harder for the attackers to burn through for sure and play around the bandit tricks and the mute jammers, for example. And we see resets in this first opening round showcasing that bandit. And now W7M, they have to problem solve around it. You can't just map the wall, you gotta either go below with a grenade, use EMPs, verticality, etc., or use Sophia stuns. In W7M, they haven't brought much utility for like structure things to open up the breach, but they brought Casey on that armor with that fast, aggressive gameplay, and Volbs on the Ing to enable that push. This could be a very fast and explosive first round. I mean, this first exothermic charge could start things off right here.
Saw that barricade go downstairs on the double doors. That allows the roam to happen from Team Liquid on the main floor. It is indeed a shotgun.
I'm sure they're gonna rush this. There's no way.
I mean, if you've got the shotgun there, the thought process would be that you wanna
Nah, he's not going for it.
JV having some difficulty with that exothermic charge. One of the Kiba barriers going towards the drone hole.
Yep, you gotta punch it out, ADS clear, then throw a grenade. It's a lot of things to do right now, and it's burning down the clock.
It was very risky, though. There's some damage done to JV in the process, holding onto this exothermic charge. He doesn't have information that the bandit has fallen off of this position, so you can get it down and not worry about any tricking that will happen. Julio sending in a grenade just for good measure as KZ on the window takes out Ask, and we find the very first kill of this series.
Yes, I mean, shotgun the window, that's something that we don't see very often. Liquid they do have CCTV control, but no one's there to swing the windows. They're playing it rather safe. They are a methodical team, going through those 1, 2, 3 steps, and I worry for them because if W7M can find the leverage right now and just overpower Liquid on this side, that's when they find their comfort zone and all that confidence. They can burst through these rounds so rapidly. Liquid, they have to shut them down early.
Oh, there's also a read now from the drone work of W7M that nobody's inside of construction. Yin Candela's going off. KZ with a flash up to the top of the main stairs. And now one onto the landing too. KZ will go in with Supernova in hand, and a shot or two is all that it's going to take. Stop for a second, swung out on. It's the shotgun from Liquid to hit its marks. 3 kills for Team Liquid as W7M's entry is successfully halted for now. Julio and Herds are the last 2 standing from W7M, and they managed to get resets. Who pops up towards weight room. Patience from W7M rewarded. Final 30 seconds to go. Palu holding one angle onto the window. That early read on construction for W7M was that it is wide open, but there's a player right now sitting on that Logi wall. Hertz will come fist to fist, and it's Nesk. Hard-pressed to imagine a more formidable opponent. Nesk gets a second kill, and it's all up to Julio, one of the most experienced players in all of Brazil. But he goes up against the menace that is Palu, and Team Liquid takes round number 1.
Beautiful crossfire from Liquid. They had every single angle covered. I mean, the swing from Lagonis on the main stairs, shutting down Casey on the Amaru, that really snowballed things from there, because that's the initial entry that they wanted and that they needed. And once that got stopped, I mean, they had no other real way into that bomb side. It's a good start for them. It's kind of set the tone. The way W7M plays is extremely explosive, very aggressive, and hard to deal with. And if it starts working, it can be so hard for any opponent against them to find a way back into the server. And Team Liquid, very methodical, very slow. They play the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s. There's 2 ways they can go about this. They can either expect the aggression because they know W7M so well, and they've studied them. They've seen all their games in this tournament. And they can try and punish the aggression by playing slow and passive, holding angles, expecting them to swing them. Or the other thing they can do, they can match the aggression. We all know that Palu and Nesk, two of the most lethal players in Rainbow Six Siege history, they can tune things up to 11 and match the aggression from someone like KC, for example. But the way that Team Liquid plays as a team overall, that's not really how they like to do things. So it's 2 very different ways they approach this matchup so far. And I'll argue that W7M, they rely more on individual gun skill and individual performances than Liquid, which isn't necessarily the most consistent way to play the game, but it's worked so well for them throughout this entire tournament and frankly, the entirety of this year.
So late setup now with 20 seconds off of the clock. Beautiful, beautiful bomb site rotation for the moment, and that late setup from the mirror window might not have been all that impactful. It's answered by the Selmas of JV, tossed onto the wall. Directly under the mirror window. Means that the defenders can't play off of that position, but can still see through it at different angles.
Yeah, I think there's something missing in the setup there. No jammer, no bandit charge on the wall, means it just falls early on. Good drone work from W7M. They're taking things slower this time around. Not sure what the opening is going to be. It's a basement roam, strips reinforced, top floors reinforced, mirror windows. I think it's wise to take the time and figure out what is the half of least resistance. Could be dirt. Walls are soft, you have a Bach, Volps making his way in. Needs to drone it out because if the shotgun member is in any of those corners, you will get shut down. The drone on the side says it's clear. What he does not know is that Gonis has snuck past the drone. He can push up, or he can wait.
Well, there's some worry of Team Liquid about W7M taking the basement on this map. That's why you saw that reinforcement go down, or the barricade rather, put onto the doorway in the previous round. Beautiful shot from Ask. That finds JV. The ace is no more for W7M, and it's an opening pick that Team Liquid will hope to hold on to for quite some time. KZ in pursuit though, but at this point, Liquid have managed to scoot away from their position. It gives KZ an opportunity to work his way down towards blue. He hears the shotgun blasts go. KZ in a very tough position. There's a black mirror staring him down, and Liquid picks up their second kill. A third follows. Resets the one to claim that on the Herds. Julio in a very familiar spot with Volps up as well. No casualties for Liquid with 45 seconds left. Oh my. Scout Key does good work, but that's it for Volps. Dropped with Julio far enough away that there will be no retrieval, and it's a secure from Nesk.
Julio again, last man standing. It's gonna suck. Resets, wins the gunfight. Liquid again, they're playing just really slow Rainbow Six Siege because they know that problem solving is not necessarily the strength of W7M when they are on the attacking side. But I am curious to see how this progresses because W7M on defense are so good as well at creating problems for the enemy to solve. And this is just the strength of the starting side of Rainbow Six Siege. When you go on defense, especially in map number 1, you can kind of just relax into the server, do your default setup that you've studied on paper, that you've prepared, and then you just see what the enemy is going to do, and then you react upon that. It's much harder to be on the attacking side because you gotta gain information, then communicate that across all 5 members as you have a drone each, and then gotta make the right decision time and time again throughout the round, and so many small things can go the wrong way. I mean, look back to our previous round. Let's say Resets loses that open kill engagement. That entire round looks very different for Liquid because they lose map control and they lose the numbers advantage. Let's say Casey walks down blue stairs and kills the goons inside of dirt. Well, again, the round is very different. So Liquid, they're playing a very tight game of Rainbow Six Siege, but if one thing does not go the way they need it to, it can fall apart really quickly. It's gonna be CCTV now, statistically the worst bomb site on this map. Played 23 times over 12 maps of Clubhouse with a 39% win rate for defenders. It is abysmal. So they gotta show us what they got. The Bandit, of course, being brought up by Paolo. Again, the Maverick ban in full effect right now. If Maverick's open, the Bandit does not matter. It will quite literally not make a difference. But because they've banned this particular operator, they can now play around those hard walls. And I mean, Garage itself, they're still forcing out Heartbeat utility. And that's kind of scores. 1 Selma left, 2 exothermic charges. And Paolo can trick this wall. This is not going to be easy for them to open up unless they can get downstairs and use a grenade or some sort of utility.
JV's got 3 of those breaches as well on his Thatcher. Could have absolutely been used on the soft walls.
So does Hurts, the ace who used his Selma charges.
I mean, you have to assume that the reason why they applied it where they did was to just open up that angle that leads up to the top of rafters.
Wrong wall.
Very common spot. Selmas are defeated by the Bandit battery of Palu, but the exothermic charge is not. That B-bomb wall has now been opened up. Volps is waiting to see if there's a jump or a run out over towards Jim. Resets could be greeted.
Big decision-making time here for W7M. They have 4 grenades. They've spent 1 on those, so 3 left in pocket. That kind of shows us it's going to be a garage attack because that's where you want those grenades to go. But you can still go master bedroom. It's not too late. You still have 1 more exothermic charge in pocket. You can open up 1 more area of the map if you want to. And Garage, well, you're playing up against just the 1 mine, but also the Asami. Look at those keeper barriers. It's going to allow Ask so much freedom on the catwalk rafters that unless a grenade takes him out, I do not see how he's going to fall in this position.
Ask decides to get a little bit aggressive. Very slow round so far, no explosiveness just yet. The Selma rather did open up a small window, and Ask misses out on an opportunity. 2 quick kills from Liquid. He decides to engage towards the door, but doesn't find anything. Herds tries to keep that number a little bit closer than it was just seconds before, but still Team Liquid successful by getting that first pick.
Yeah, but as dropping down, there's a big question mark for him because you killed both the Sledge and Iana. There's no more grenades from W7M. You can hide on catwalk rafters the entire round. Neski tries to make the play, but it goes punished instead.
They still got that threat as Palu right now is in a position to do some serious damage. He's gonna lose one of the walls leading to the top of garage rafters. That's Julio using the exothermic charge. Palu sees one inside of construction. That call out will be made, takes out Julio. 2 for Palu. It's a triple, baby. W7M walks into the Monster's waiting arms, and it is just rhythmic to watch him go. Team Liquid complete the cycle. They're up 3-0.
I think I figured out exactly what Liquid's gonna do. They're gonna start off with their conventional, methodical style of Rainbow Six Siege, and if things go bad, you tell Nesk and Paolo to just go kill the opposition, right? Nesk swung aggressively, got 2 kills that round. Then Paolo has Barbed Wire on the Bandit, which I'm a huge fan of, by the way, because I always talk about Barbed Wire versus C4 value. But in that particular round, 3 versus 3, they had no Toxic Babes, they had no C4, they had no vertical control. They have to find picks by playing aggressive and winning gunfights. Paolo and Team Liquid, they recognize that. And then so Paolo go kill, he gets all 3 of them and shuts down what looked to be a very good round for W7M. And with this being down 0-3, it's gonna force a tactical timeout. We gotta figure things out. Remember, W7M, they're not used to playing from behind. I mean, they went flawless in groups. 6-0, all victories in regulation. the most amount of rounds that they lost was 5 rounds against BDS twice. It was 2 7-5 victories for them. They beat Fury 7-3, 7-3. SSG 7-3, 7-2. It was really straightforward games, so they pretty much always had the round lead and the advantage, and they never had to really take these moments to say, boys, this isn't working, we're losing, what do we gotta change? Then they went into quarterfinals against Black Dragons. There's a 2-0, and excuse my language, but they slaughtered Black Dragons. It wasn't even close.
What are you excusing?
I hate speaking poorly about a different team. It's not because Black Dragons played poorly, but it's like W7M played so well that it was just a slaughter in a match that was very competitive, or should have been very competitive. So I'm sure I'm not hurt Black Dragons' feelings, because they absolutely deserved to go to quarterfinals, and they played well, but they were not a match for W7M.
5 seconds to go.
It's an early timeout to burn, but when you go down 3-0,
It's gotta be done.
it absolutely has to be. This is W7M's map as well. They played it in groups against BDS with a 7-5 victory. Oh, KZ shows Ass the inside of his own head. A nice reflexive shot. W7M with an extremely early pick.
Oh yeah. I mean, the rounds, they've been slow for W7M, but they just bought themselves 20 to 30 seconds on the clock with that opening kill. And more importantly, it's the Asami. Only 2 keeper barriers could have gone out if both were used. That means that there is so much utility from Liquid that they're going to have to play without in this round. They also have the Maya of Nesk, so things are slowly charging up. The faster W7M can execute, the better it'll be for them, or easier rather, it'll be for them.
Oh. Really rough to lose that operator so early on. It's the utility that's going to hurt a lot. Not to mention the fact that everybody on Liquid is at present a threat. Palu is the only player in the server without a death just yet. W7M will need to reduce that in order to get a round on the board. Resets will lose some of the protection onto that bathroom wall as one of the Rotero drones from KZ blows it open. And now it looks like that CCTV wall will be opened up as well, with the exothermic charge from Julio being placed. Both of those hard destruction gadgets have been used by the Thermite.
Yeah.
Do they still have any Selmas left on Herds? That is the question. Yes, they do. 1 left to be applied.
Yep. So again, they got all the pieces that they want. 2 grenades, they got Rotero drones, EMPs, Heartbreach, Palu with the timing.
Oh my!
Kill.
5-0 for Palu.
He's hunting.
There's yet another nearby. JV engaging, does almost all of Palu's HP, still holding this position. JV inside a CCTV. Palu scampered off, but he sees the gun barrel through the floor, and he can do serious damage with the impact. It's a shrewd play, but Volps hands Palu his very first death, not before Palu brings 2 of the W7M players down with him.
It's massive value. He slows down W7M, he gains information, he gets stature and the A, so no more Heartbreach or EMPs. Now the bombs that execute, all you have are 2 grenades and 6 flashbangs. No smokes, no Rotero drones. Liquid in a stable position to fight this 3-3, and with only 30 seconds left, they should have this one if they can play those numbers.
There's a nade from below, not in the right area code. A second one from Volps. Will go down in a very conventional spot. 20 seconds left. Lagonis used both of his toxic canisters and now sustained some serious damage. KZ inside a gym, he's shut down. Ness cannot outduel Julio. These two have battled time and time again. Only 10 seconds to go in a 2v2. Resets holding this position. It's from construction where we see W7M come. Julio vaults in, resets ends him. Volps running out of time. Well, the timeouts seem to put W7M in better position, but it's a game of inches as Team Liquid goes up 4-0.
I mean, I don't want to say that Palu is carrying Team Liquid, but he's doing a lot of work for them. Again, they don't get what they want in the first minute and a half, so Palu takes it upon himself to say, I will return us into a stable position. The flank gets the initial control ace, then he goes back downstairs, plays a very patient game of cat and mouse, sees the gun barrel, and instead of risking that kill going away or losing the gun battle with 1 HP, he goes with a direct impact grenade, either guaranteeing the injure or the kill, or he'll gain damage plus vision to then shoot the toes of that member. And Team Liquid, again, such a formidable team and coming so close so many times. What is this? Where is Pingu? Oh, it's a fun fact. If Pingu was ever late to school, he'd rather skip the entire day than to show up late and feel the eyes of his schoolmates as he entered the room. These days, he's always late to rehearsal. I'm not late to rehearsals ever. Parker, please back me up here.
Yeah, that's actually true.
No, it's not true.
No, it's true that you've never been late to rehearsals.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Let's go what? There you go.
There you go. Let's go, Liquid. Come on.
The audience will decide who they want to cheer for. You can't spur them into
just
action.
helping them along. You started this whole boo because of Skinergy at the Charlotte Major. Do not get me started on controlling the crowd.
I did that one time and it took off.
It took off like a whirlwind.
I lost control of the monster.
Absolutely did.
One time I said, oh, they don't have the same skins on, boo them. And then it just did not stop. Yeah, I did. I lost control of the monster. Another way.
So what did we learn? Don't try and contain the monster in the first place?
Don't create the monster.
Don't create the monster. That's also good.
We're just getting a quick rehost under our belts, and then we'll be back into the action. 4-0 for Team Liquid. Timeout burned by W7M. We have not seen a bar stage defense from TL yet. Though it is a bomb site that shows up with great frequency. We saw it in that BDS Sonics match that happened just a little while before this.
I think there's, like, to my side of things, there's a very big reason for why we don't see bar. And it's because that bar is the most, like, gun-oriented, brawl-out fight bomb site on Clubhouse, so you cannot really force utility and cohesion as much as Basement, CCTV, and Gym. So again, with the operator bands being both Hibana and Maverick and Kaid, you bring the Bandit on the 2 top floors to trick the walls. On Basement, they bring the Mirror up both the first time and this round as well. Look at Liquid's lineup. It's pure utility. 1 Mine Magnet, Smoke Canisters, C4s, Banshee so nobody can sneak on in, and Mirror Windows. And they don't just bunker on the bomb side to allow W7M to get comfortable, they extend everywhere on the map. Strip side, Jacuzzi, CCTV, Lagonis is playing in third. There's no real easy path for W7M, and we saw in the previous Basement round, they had no clue as to what they wanted to do, how they wanted to proceed in the round, and to make things even more difficult, we're reinforcing the blue hatch and the bar hatch, so you can't just rush down if you get a little bit of map control. You have to fight those staircases, and that's again where Nesk's Banshees from the Melusi and the Mirror Window towards blue, they come into play. So Clubhouse, for this opening map for W7M, playstyle-wise, I don't feel like it really favors them. It's why Liquid are finding themselves in such a comfortable position, being up 4-0, while also playing extremely good Rainbow Six Siege, of course.
Talk about this utility work. Previous defense of this bomb site. Back in round number 2, Team Liquid extended all the way up to the top floor using those black mirrors on Mira to waste some time and waste some utility. The attackers having to expend hard breach just to open up a clearer path to that top floor is integral for Liquid.
They faked the roam. There's no one here. Same setup, but just with the mute jammers.
I mean, they don't know that yet.
They don't know. We know that. But look at the clock. It's been a minute. No one's inside the building. And all you did was run upstairs, reinforce some walls, put down some jammers. This is basically what we call like the SSG roam strat. We do like the mute and the mossy and the castle. But they did it with the bomb site being even stronger because they only did anything on the top floor. The first floor was left untouched. So they have so much more utility for the bomb site itself. But they bought the time. Half round almost gone. And we haven't breached any of the hatches yet.
How quick to pivot will they be now that they realize that all 5 players from Liquid should be down below? All 4 make that. Ask is the first one to die. Both black mirrors have at least been placed, so you likely lose the nitro cell that came in the hands of Mira, providing that's what she brought.
Yeah.
Sure looks that way.
Impact grenades from Nesk and Palu. So once Member's going to play on that church wall to try and deny any breaches. Also, of course, Nesk has that mirror window. Casey, though, has an angle on it. Bit of an oversight from Team Liquid, and that's going to cause that mirror to be opened up, and Church now is going to be under pressure.
Well, W7M very quickly determining that the map was theirs for the taking. A minute to roam clear. A minute to get the first pick, or a minute and a half, and now 4 remain of Liquid down below. W7M still searching for something that can give them their very first round. Talked about the utility of the defense, but it's also present for the attackers. Secondary hard breach in the hands of Herds has now been fully used. Gas canister tossed out. Nice shot from Herds, predicting Nesk as the peak from Church Wall goes through. Grenade tossed down as well, connects on to Lagonis. W7M so triumphant. JV the only one down, hurts Walters too. Palu's still in this position. Oh my God, he's so good. And he's got the last one lined up, but he's in a 1v2, 10 seconds left.
Oh, but a pistol.
Pistol out against the F2. This is gonna be dangerous. Relocating, running away. Julio down. And can KZ get him in time? No, he can't. Palu doesn't even need to get a kill. All he needs to do is play keep away.
And I told you, I mean, every single time Liquid's back's against the wall, it's Palu every single time saying, I'll take this round, boys. Double kill into pistol, plays the information, runs away. The experience. I mean, we always talk about Palu as one of the most lethal players that we have ever seen. Like, it's basically Nesk's child at this point, right? Except the age doesn't really add up. But in this circumstance, he plays the brain game. And I honestly think that somebody like Lagonis joining this roster, it brings us a little bit more depth to the team. When it comes to the structure, the strategy, how to approach rounds outside just your own gun barrel, and it's a beautiful showcasing. The only thing I didn't really like in that round is that Lagonis played smoke inside of dirt. I've been in that position, and it sucks. Because it's hard to fight with 17 bullets of the SMG-11. The shotgun, some people love it, some people hate it. But the thing that's a problem for me is that you cannot use your toxic babes efficiently or safely from the dirt position. Lagonis tried to swing out to throw a toxic babe after the first one expired, and he was met by a grenade. Because you gotta expose yourself to that door from dirt, from the kitchen hatch and blue door to do so. So I think there is a couple things Liquid can change around to be more comfortable in basement, but that really doesn't matter right now because that bomb site's locked. They're not gonna go there again unless we see OT, and W7M have yet to put a round on the board. Now, Palu, monster. On the bandit again, has that barbed wire that we spoke of previously, so there's no C4 for plant tonight. This is all on Lagonis if W7M can even get into a plant position, because that's the problem. They never get there. It always gets shut down just moments before, seconds before. The setup right here is going to be an EMP into a grenade, it looks like, but we're waiting for the rotation so JV can enable his team. Combine that with the exothermic charge on this wall, should be opened up. Liquid, however, this time, they're not actively bandit tricking because Palu almost died to a grenade previously, so they're going to play it safe, force out the utility, just open up the wall. It's one free EMP, one free grenade, nobody takes damage.
And a nade from below sails up just in case somebody from Liquid was holding on to that spot. Been talking so much about what could happen, we've overlooked the fact that there is a fuse on the board.
I'm still trying to figure out what that's for.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to wonder if the idea is to get inside a construction. Fuse's cluster charges go through reinforcements now.
Yes.
I don't know how many people are watching this broadcast that have not played this Russian operator in a while, but the changes allow more flexibility. It also denies bandit tricking because those explosive pellets will go on in and almost certainly kill whoever's on the other side of the wall. Bad recoil control from KZ, but he still manages to take out a bunch of Ask's life. Fuse in this position. Ask will have to get on the ground. An army crawl on. Oh, grenade goes in. What? More damage is done. How do you miss out on the sledge? You don't even see him now. He does. First kill goes to W7M, but it's answered back within seconds. First cluster charge goes off. At least it sounds like it. No casualties.
I can't believe Ask got away with that. Now Julio has to, frustratingly so, trying to flashbang his position, push up that staircase, but it's not going to be easy.
JV goes down to Nesk. W7M are just finding their fate at the hands of Liquid. The fuse of KZ getting Ask what little was remaining up on Catwalk. What can you do with the final 40 seconds here? Team Liquid primed and ready for a 6-0 first half. Julio will use the cluster charge to take up more space. The B bomb site inside of CCTV has been completely surrendered. Now all of W7M will have to storm in from the same position. Liquid far enough back inside of Cash. What little remains of KZ is what stands between Julio with the diffuser and the three players from Liquid. KZ hits the dirt, so does Lagonis. It's a 2v2. Liquid need to wait this one out. Julio rushing to line, takes matters into his own hands. Palu will need to clutch. He's been mighty fine, and he needs to stop Julio, but that's W7M to deny the 6-0 half as he takes matters into his own hands and slays the dragon of Palu.
it seemed like Nesk had an easy job. He was downstairs, the floor was broken below Julio's feet. Julio, however, because he's in that plant position, he's looking straight down at him. So he got the kill instead. Ask somehow staying alive for so long on the catwalk ramp. They're right there. Julio getting that kill defines the entire round. Paolo was presuming, or assuming rather, that Julio was going to stick that plan because he's rather far into it. 4 or 5 seconds through, 1 or 2 seconds left. It could have gone either way. That's those 50-50 moments that you're going to look back at this VOD after this match finishes, regardless of the outcome, and be like, I could have played that better, but that's hindsight 2020. Paolo thought he was going to stick it. He didn't. If Paolo had run back towards the bomb site and Julio sticks it, Julio is still in the prime position. So it's because that Julio and W7M could get themselves in that position in the first place that they get to control the outcome of that round. They get to make the decisions now for the first time this entire match so far. Now the side swap comes through. Now Liquid has to attack against a very aggressive W7M. They're going to start in the basement with what I said earlier, the quote-unquote SSG basement rover strat with Kaz and Mute and Mossy. We're going to see spawn peaks. We're going to see them challenge Liquid on every single area of the map at all times. And the question for Liquid is, can they make it into the building 5 versus 5? Otherwise, it's probably not going to bode well for them. Every single operator right now for Liquid is so important to the execute. Only one heart breacher. Sure, Ying has those secondary heart breach canisters, which are great for hatches, bad for walls. Then you have nades, and soft lock and Sophia, or soft breach and Sophia rather. So if Liquid loses any members, it's a lot of value lost and a lot gained for W7M.
To mention the fact that you've got these Candelas at play, I'm curious as to the 4 Claymores that Liquid is bringing along to this bomb site. It's a downstairs hold.
It's not really many plays you can jump out of, so I would agree with you.
I mean, maybe you want to throw one out. If you think that they might go for a run out on Jim, maybe do that. Maybe a kitchen door, maybe put one by in the very most common spot when attacking this bomb site, which is the top of those stairs, the ladder rather.
Oh yeah, garage, yeah.
Oh my, Palu's just in.
Sending it.
Lagonis takes out JV. Palu's in the midst of the bomb site.
There's no rotates.
There's no rotates at all. Through the wall, down goes Herds. Nade in hand, ready. The last 3 players from W7M all sequestered towards blue, but Liquid doesn't have that intel. Diffuser in hand for Lagonis, almost going down. KZ needs to get back in, and he throws out his Nitro cell, but the nade from Palu is true. And there's yet another. What the hell is going on for Liquid? Palu is playing at a level that we have not seen in an international match in so long. That's 6 kills since we re-hosted. Not 6 kills through 7 rounds, which in and of itself is good. What do you do if you're Julio? Take the engagement to Palu, get a relatively easy kill. Nice play on the resets. Now it's Julio putting up a beautiful body of work together, but he can't get past Ask. Liquid move to match point. Beautiful stuff.
That entire round has about as many highlight montage kill clips as like full-on games. All of 2 players. Paolo from Liquid, Julio from W7M. I mean, look at these shots. Bam, and then boom. Beautiful SMG11 in action. Of course, Latsum, known as like the region to utilize that gun in particular. But I can't get over, and I'm not gonna get tired of saying Paolo's name, but it is ridiculous. The performance, the accuracy, the consistency, and bringing it right now when Liquid needs to make a grand finals in map number 1. Because there has been questions where when Team Liquid looked the weakest throughout this tournament and group stage was when Nesk and or Palu weren't really showing up. And it's always pretty much been the story for Liquid. If they show up on the scoreboard, odds are Liquid for a great run. When you say the same for BDS, if Shaiku or Leakefak are having a great game on the scoreboard, odds are BDS are winning. But there's 2 different ways to get on the board so consistently. One is that you are an incredibly mechanically talented player, which all of those players just mentioned are. So are the members of W7M, KC, Volps, JV, Hertz, all of them. Even Julio as a support player, all mechanically talented. But the supportive teamwork that goes on behind the scenes, the drone, the information, the shot calling, taking pressure off Paolo's brain to enable his aim further, because odds are Paolo, he has most decisions made for him strategically. He just has to focus on how he approaches his one-on-ones. We see it time and time again. His nade usage last round as well, finding that kill, slowing down the retake. It's been near perfect.
He's just on another level right now.
Right now he is.
Palu is just dominating this matchup, taking control. Reunited with that sledge roll as Liquid will open up one of the walls leading into construction. It's a gym hold. This is the bomb site that we have seen tied with Church now for most frequency.
Not surprised. Gym over CC, typically the last 2 years of Clubhouse, has slowly taken over. Whereas in the beginning of Clubhouse and competitive play was always CCTV, always in favor. Everybody loved that bomb site. But with the introduction of operators like Maverick and Mira being banned more frequent and stuff, we see less and less play on that particular bomb side. Liquid, I believe they get the wall right here. Hertz tried to challenge to slow Liquid down, but a successful clear of the Bandit means the wall gets opened up. KC reinforces that second bathroom wall to play a more passive approach to the bomb side, forcing Liquid to spend more hard breach utility and more EMPs and or frag grenades to open up the bathroom wall, allowing Bandit a second line of defense. That's really smart and very dynamic play from them.
They still got 2 reinforcements as well. Nick, if they want to go for a wall that they don't like, maybe inside of Logi. It's a nice drone from Ness, gaining a lot of visibility. Hasn't been spotted out there at will by the Azami of KZ. Palu down below, searching for any of the offsite players for W7M. W7M have only lost 2 maps in many, many months now. I think we have to go all the way back to September in order to see the last time they actually lost a map, let alone a series. That 18-match streak is in jeopardy if they go down on their very first map. And not just any map, but the one that W7M picked themselves. 40 seconds right now will define this series. And Liquid get in, get the diffuser planted, pick off the players from W7M. Right now, W7M doesn't really have any pressure being applied to them. Resets might not be aware that one of those players sits on his right. He walks in, taken out from inside of weight room 2. Quick kills from W7M, but that'll be it. Ness gets 1, but then the guns come alive, leaving Palu in a 1v4. They soften up by the gas, and Volps hops on over and denies the match in favor of Liquid, as there's still a pulse on the corpse of W7M here on Clubhouse.
Again, that's that gym bomb site defense. It's really hard as an attacker to find any foothold on the attack. I mean, you get the breach open, sure. You get a member in the windows, again, sure. But no one's actually in the building applying that pressure that you spoke about, Parker. We're all outside kind of waiting for someone to swing us and peek us. Doesn't happen. So what do? Well, timer is 20 seconds. Now you get a rush on in with no live information, because that drone that Ness had earlier, it showed 3 members of W7M. Once that drone got shut inside a gym, they had no information to work with. So when they had to actually walk in the breach, well, an easy player or a player easily hiding in the corner makes a very big difference for the defenders. Now we're going through those bomb sites. Basement up next. Again, we're playing these more utility-oriented bomb sites. And again, utility-oriented operators, Maestro, Wamai, Asami, Demira. And of course, you gotta bring Toxic Babes every single round, because it means you can utilize the time against your opponent. When the clock hits 30 seconds, if you have 3 Toxic Babes left, the clock is basically 0 in one part of the map where you cannot execute, you cannot really go unless you were to push through a Toxic Canister, which is not recommended ever. Now, if you've killed Smoke, or you don't play the Smoke, you have more time to work with. And frankly, that's also why Goyo is seeing more play in competitive Pro League right now, because it works in that same fashion. Put down a canister, and if somebody wants to buy time for your team or for a certain position, you buy 30 seconds, just then and there.
Have you seen if there's a blue rotate this time, by the way? Because we're back downstairs. Oh. Palu engaging with 2 separate players from W7M, taking an awful lot of damage. He's just got a whisper of HP. You want to keep Palu alive as long as possible. He's been so fine in this matchup. Yes, there is a rotate in blue, so question answered. Thank you, spectators.
I mean, at this point, do you play Finka to keep people alive? Because this chip damage is brutal.
Is that chip damage? He has 10 HP.
Yeah, I mean, 3 Adrenal Searchers, you're basically back to 80? Then it's chip damage, I suppose. I don't know. You're right, though. In this case, it won't make or break a difference here. Palu, being the only vertical operator as well, with the exception of like Sophia's gadget, has to do a lot of work inside a kitchen if Liquid wants to do anything with that hatch. Blue has been a big focus of W7M. Mirror windows protecting both Church and Blue itself. Liquid cannot attack it and pick it apart or avoid it entirely, but that depends on how their Heartbreach gadgets, A, where they get used, and B, if they go off successfully, because there are 5 impact grenades and a C4 from W7M.
The thing is one of those impact grenades through the floor will kill Palu.
Absolutely.
A Nitro Cell certainly will, but even
100%.
an impact, if Palu, who was playing upstairs in kitchen, tries to get some of that floor opened up, he'll be picked up very easily. Resets, dies to Volps's toxic gas as it's thrown through the hatch that we saw the Yana sitting by. Resets not exactly having the best success so far. Julio and Nitro Cell primed and ready, looking for the lineup.
Oh boy. That's beautiful.
There he goes, he gets it. You'll be able to see it. Triangulation. But he's got it.
It's the bottom main stairs there. There's different ways to line it up. That's a new one for me. I do it by the bar usually.
You don't do it at all. You don't play at this level. Candela goes out by Ask JV blinded, but that bullet hose of the Alda will just spray out, and JV prevails in the engagement. 2 picks for W7M, 30 seconds to go. The defenders having a great stead. Neska's been spotted through the black mirror. He can't deal with the Wamai of Herds. Everything falling apart for Team Liquid. The ghost of Palu still upstairs. He's the last one standing.
15 seconds left.
Took all that damage at the beginning, but he's just gonna waste time. You know you're not gonna find 5 of your adversaries. You might as well just deny them that flawless round. They will win the round flawlessly though.
Yeah.
Even though there's been quite a lot of damage done. W7M keeping this interesting. After Team Liquid stormed out to a 5-0 lead, W7M have taken 3 of the last 4 and are putting together an impressive performance on defense.
This round that's about to come onto your screens is going to be very important for both of these teams. It's a tertiary bomb site defense for W7M, which statistically is the easiest one to attack against and the hardest to defend, obviously favoring Team Liquid. They're gonna go with CCTV. Bar is not gonna be showcased from either team so far. And if Liquid fails to attack, well then things get tough, because then Gym opens up next, followed by Basement again. And that's where Liquid could not find any success. So their best options right now is to heavily target this bomb site. And actually, there's a part of me that wanted to see a tactical timeout from Liquid to fully discuss how they wanted to attack either Bar or CCTV and talk it through. But the issue with taking that timeout is that you also give W7M time to also think about what they can change. And Liquid, they already burned the opponent's timeout back in round number 3, so they don't want to give them that time to think and breathe. Instead, they're going to take these 30 seconds of prep phase, talk it out. Ask was hovering the Monty. That's to take the garage control absolutely for free by just walking up that staircase, but he changes the approach. And I think that's a bit of a problem here, because if you don't have the EMPs on Thatcher, it can be very tricky to get that initial CCT wall opened up. Now you could play Monty with secondary EMPs, you could change Nesk from Flores onto Thatcher if it was up to me, because then you can both do the Monty garage attack while still working the breach. Now we're kind of choosing one or the other. And I mean, the breach is very important, the most important step in this entire strategy. But how are you gonna deal with step number 2 after?
Oh, there it is. Julio's able to get one of the walls electrified, but still losing out.
Basically trade, right? You sell on one wall, exothermic charge the other. Bandit chooses which one. Obviously, the exothermic charge is a higher value because bigger breach. So, right decision from the Bandit trick. And Liquid, they're just heavy trading out that utility because they got what they wanted.
Julio scampered off of that point to the top of red stairs. He had gone, but now farther back. Looks like inside a bedroom. Time for the Rotero drones to be called into action from Nesk. And the soft wall and construction will be blown wide open. That could expose both Julio and Herds, but Herds back inside of CCTV, plugging some of that hole that was created by the Salma with the Kiba barriers. One of the intended ways for Azami to be used. We don't see it that often, though. Azami has largely been used to create mobile deployable shields instead of patching the holes that are made from the hard breach. Teams instead favoring utility to keep them safe off the bomb site.
Small detail for Liquid here, nobody's on that CCTV breach they opened up earlier because they don't have any isolated members who could get swung by W7M. Speaking of isolated, Nesk was isolated inside a construction, took that a very aggressive engagement and got punished for it. And now Liquid, they're in a dire position. No openings, limited map control. They have yet to get that second wall opened up. And now things are slowly closing in as W7M, they realize what the strategy and approach is here for Liquid.
Alu's been scared away from his position because KZ wants to harass them down in stock. Back up to the top of red he will go, right next to Julio. Sounds like another exothermic charge will go off. Akiba barrier will plug that hole as well. W7M using this utility masterfully to keep Liquid at bay. Also give them a little bit of cover inside of this bomb site, allowing Herds to play freely towards construction and onwards. Oh, 8 sails down below, 30 seconds left. And a pre-fire from Herds will be heard by resets. Liquid trying to walk in, but Volps takes down Lagonis. Liquid not being able to put much on the board these last 3 rounds. Can they break it? As they are right now being held to match point. Resets walking in, there goes KZ. Reset saw another, he'll get swung from 2 separate angles. W7M stacking up on it, it's Ask outside of the breach. Picking up a big kill, but what more can he accomplish as the time goes down to 0? Nothing, he stays alive, and W7M have won 3 in a row. They are very quickly eating away at this lead that Liquid established early on.
In the TSM matchup yesterday, we spoke about how the Capcan traps were a very big problem for both teams, and in this matchup, it's the keeper barriers. The Asami going unbanned in this matchup has been proven to be very difficult to attack against, and it's forcing out the Flores, 2 sets of grenades, etc. But even when teams are bringing all this utility, they're not always in the right position to use it, right? Nesk was on the Flores, he died with 3 red terror drones in his pocket. That could have cleared those keeper barriers, but he was also the injured player in construction, taking initial map control, and Liquid, they've been forced into a position that they weren't really happy to go to. And that is, they gotta burn their timeout now to figure things out before overtime, otherwise things are gonna drag out. And that means W7M can also talk to their coach, and I mean, if you win 3 in a row, you got the momentum, you're feeling better. Of course, they know one mistake is gonna cost you Clubhouse, because you are and you have been on match point for a long time at this moment. And they got additions to make. What bomb set to go to next? It's bar or gym. If they win gym, basement or bar, it opens up one by one. Things are only gonna get more difficult for Liquid, because with how these bombs are opening up, it heavily favors W7M. And they're going for a very different approach. I mean, we see it. Goyo on the board now. Castle, more utility. Of course, JV on the Asami has to go time and time again, because the value that we see, how much Liquid's struggling against it, you'd be a fool not to bring it.
Now that Palu's slowed down as well, Team Liquid's struggles offensively have been very noticeable. Those last 3 rounds that W7M have prevailed on, they got the first blood in every single round, and they denied Liquid more than a couple kills. That's been a great 3-round showing. Team Liquid were able to do 1 full cycle themselves. W7M just matched it, of course.
Not many plans this match either. Really, no. I have 1 plan going down. It's like the very last second as well. It didn't really make a difference. That was Liquid's like Paolo rush round where he got 4 kills, and then Julio matched with 3 incredible kills as well. It has been an explosive matchup, all coming down to kills in the last final seconds, despite both teams actually trying and intending to try and get that diffuser down. It hasn't happened yet, with that 1 exception. C4 goes off from Julio. Not really relevant right now. Casey has a spare in pocket as well. Paolo stays alive, but takes a little tiny fraction of damage.
Oh. This Herds is positioned down inside of the kitchen. Playing on that hatch, it looked like. Liquid still on the roof, working discoveries. This is an attempt towards Jim. You pointed it out, W7M's denial that they had before with Bandit is no more. Instead, allow Team Liquid clear passage into the bomb site. Beat them in whatever engagement may come. Nitro cells lined up, ready to rock. It's towards the jacuzzi breach. I wonder if it's being watched by the bulletproof camera that Herds brought with him. Nitro cell tossed out, ripped! Oh. And it does significant damage. Down goes resets. Lagonis injured by it as well. Nesk is no more, but look at Lagonis. Unable to secure, gets swung on. JV picked off. Volp still bleeding out. It was a good start from W7M, but Liquid able to keep pace. There goes what was remaining of Volps as he crawled across the ground. Julio has the angle. If Liquid tries to break from that Logi, they'll be spotted on that main stairs landing. Knew that there was a shotgun player in the bathroom. Oh, they're gonna give him time, work with. Herds, who was playing downstairs in kitchen, eager to get back to the bomb site. KZ sustaining some serious damage, and Palu has the read on this. Takes the head right off of Herds. It's Julio down for the count. KZ with 1 HP, won't go anywhere. Well, W7M seemed to be quite confident, but Liquid toyed with them for a little bit and ultimately came back in fine form. They steal W7M's map 7-4 and go up 1-0 in this series.
Their patience and discipline in that final round, taking a big breather on the bomb side as the attacking team, not moving a muscle, getting drones set up, just shows Liquid's playstyle, and it changed the pace. It started a rush, ended in discipline, and a very impressive showcasing from Team Liquid.
Well, at least one more map to go, and Team Liquid will be on very comfortable soil as they pick Skyscraper up next. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. We've got a brief break, and then we'll get back with more of this semifinal.
I'm Nicholas Mortensen, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a two-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Yeah, Antero, there really is nothing like a lamb. That's exactly it. That'll be for SI, but now here in Jönköping, Liquid were able to take map number 1 in the series. And I have to say, a fairly convincing map 1. Yes, some struggles on attack, but you can kind of count that for both of these squads. We're back on the LSS to break things down and prep you for map 2. I'm Milos, with me are Ann and Fresh. And let's talk about this. Liquid victorious in beautiful fashion.
Yeah, they played absolutely excellently, particularly on the defensive half. And I'm actually going to start this analyst desk talking about what Leo said, about what Alfama said about Liquid in this match. Right at the start of today in the pre-show, he basically said that he thought that there was a stylistic clash where Liquid would be able to potentially punish the over-aggression, the moments that W7M want to find, because W7M don't operate on the teamwork framework. They operate on big moments and like just not strategy. They play for kills together. And if Liquid were able to punish that, they would have mega success. Now, Clubhouse attack is one of the hardest attacks to make those moments happen. And all Liquid had to do was make sure they were tight, they were compact, they were playing very, basic default strategy with a couple of intricacies in there. And they punished every single round apart from one.
Yeah, this makes me wonder why W7M specifically picked this map, because we talked about the attacking win rate of W7M that isn't the greatest coming into this game. And I mean, if you pick that map, you're going to probably have to start on attack as well. Then you have to show something, and that just didn't happen for W7M. And I actually spoke to JV prior to their matchup, and I asked them, how are you feeling? And they said, we're very confident. It's a 2-0. It's very, very simple, very little words, but very confident. 2-0. Maybe a 2-1, but a 2-0. That was a lot of confidence, and right now, when we're looking at the players just in that break, it doesn't seem all that comfortable and all that confident. I wonder where their confidence went.
I mean, their confidence went because they just lost the game, but like Liquid, they went off, cool, calm, collected, just off stage, regather the thoughts. W7M just had a crisis meeting out there on the stage. They really did look devoid of confidence, and it's easy to see why. I mean,
look, against Palu, you need a crisis meeting every round.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How does he do it? The longevity of that man, not just the fact he's doing it here. The fact he's been doing it for years at this point.
So consistent. Look at that, a 90% cost.
Yeah.
Out of these 11 rounds, you have done a lot to really contribute to those rounds win. A few problems on the side of W7M. Well, KZ and Herds not performing the way we would expect from them as well. That's a really big issue, and this is a first as well. W7M's just lost their first map during this entire major. They lost their first points, you could see their groups as well, and now they're going to have to bounce back on that on Liquid's map pick as well.
This game is all about mental warfare. That's what separates, any of these pro teams. All of these pro teams that were at the event, all 16 of them, they can shoot hard, they can play off each other, they can play the best strategy that's available in Siege. It's the mental warfare that goes on. Liquid have just overcome that mental warfare. They've won the battle. The war continues, but they have won the first battle.
Yeah, if you're W7M, you really don't want Liquid to live rent-free in your head, and especially not in this economy. Let's be completely honest here. But moving on from that turn of events into our MVP for this matchup. Who is it? Wow, that'd be a great surprise. I wonder who it will be. Wow.
Whoa.
Crazy.
Act surprised. Yeah. No, I'm not surprised. He's really stepped up. He wants to go into the finals. And it would be nothing less than deserved as well. And I'm really thinking whether I'm saying that right now or not. But it would be very much deserved. It would be a very good final to have for us as well. But then Liquid would need to win that, second map as well. And it's looking like they might feel the vibe.
Let's talk about that. We'll see if they pass your vibe check here. There you go.
Vibe check.
Thank you very much. Skyscraper is up next, and that is Liquid's pick. And I'm very curious how that will go, because we have not seen Skyscraper here in playoffs. It's a rare map in comparison to a Clubhouse, especially, but this is a whole different kind of challenge.
We haven't even seen this map from Liquid in the past 4 months. They haven't played it at all, but they don't really ban it either. So it's not really a map that they despise, but they might be keeping some things from us hidden, because we haven't seen this map from them in a very long time. For W7, it's a really good map, though. They've won 2 games on it, but also a rare occasion because, well, they really tend to ban this map a lot. They don't like it that much.
Yeah, in terms of preference, I've got it very high preference Liquid, somewhat low preference for W7M. But when they do play it, the same is with left-hand teams, they love it. They're very good at playing it.
What does W7M need to do strategy-wise in this map? Because we can talk about, hey, get them out of your head or whatever, but you got to play the execution.
It's precisely that. When we saw W7M, and I think a similar situation where we've seen them in this scenario is back in Charlotte. Whenever, they felt like the odds were stacked against them, they were a little bit aggrieved, they were very emotional. They've brought Julio in now, and this is the crunch time for Julio. This is crunch time for Julio to bring them back down, get them in that emotional range where they can go about their business. Because if they get a little bit hot-headed, if they get a little bit emotional, like, right, we need to get back in this, I need to make this play, and they need to force that, if they start forcing those plays, that's where it becomes dangerous, because it'll just start compounding and rolling into it. So it's not so much what they need to do inside the server, it's what they need to do emotionally for me to bring themselves back into the zone.
I very much agree with you on that. And regarding Julio, he's had a little bit of a slower start into this last map. I don't think he can allow himself to do that again for the upcoming map, because this is where really it's going to start to matter. Defense also going to be very important. Of course, you're going to start on your attack, probably considering, or you're going to start your defense for W7M. But we know them for their explosive stuff, right? We want to see more from that. We want to see the confidence back. Despite them not looking so confident with that quick meeting they now have, they need to regain themselves, regain composure, and be very confident, very aggressive, all in Liquid's faces.
That's a lot of pressure on the support staff and on Julio, of course, outside and inside of the game. He's done it all, but can he do it today to take the team out of this difficult spot and push it to map 3? Bank, I don't know. I'm very excited. I hope that we get a bank, but still, there it is. They're getting all ready. But Skyscraper is already a treat. Thank you very much, and Jack. We're going to be back into our game right after this commercial break.
Dá não, meu.
You guys ready? Yeah.
Aragon?
Park? No? It's both of us have suits, right? Cara. Nossa.
É verdade, ele nunca saiu do meta.
Deu uma mole. Vai, Nescão, vai ter que comer aí, man.
Vai, mano. Bota aí.
Que?
Bora.
The recruit. Easy one. No, he's not here.
Yeti?
Ah, man. Cara. I think about crying, but he's not here.
Come aí, amigão.
Nossa, Zara.
Não tá lá. Tá bom?
Yeah. Getting more spicy, but alright. It's easy enough.
Well, he started out on W7M's map, but it was Team Liquid who ultimately prevailed, and now they are but a single map away from doing something that has not happened to W7M in the last 18 matches, and that's defeat W7M. Yeah. It would also be Liquid's second major finals since SI 2021, was their first after Atlantic City, and that victory all the way back in 2018. This all-Brazilian bash that we've seen so far has really come down to the two Titans, the teams that met in the top winners bracket in CES and then met in the overall victory bracket as well.
Yeah.
With W7M getting the victory both times. Revenge is on the mind for Team Liquid, and now we go to Skyscraper.
Oh boy. I mean, I didn't think Clubhouse was gonna play out the way it did with how explosive that first half was for Team Liquid, but W7M really great attempt at a comeback. The thing is, for Skyscraper, W7M starts on the defensive side. It's clearly where they were a lot more comfortable, at least in the previous map, against Team Liquid, so for them, they can start things off with the advantage, with that round lead, and hopefully, as Jack's at the desk, they have Julio now, who can kind of hopefully bring the players back into that mindset of, we're here in this moment right now. Last match doesn't matter, didn't happen. We need to focus on the basics. A few targets ban coming out. Monty from the side of W7M, and then Liquid targeting that Monty. Sorry, Thermite from W7M and Monty from Liquid. Monty and Skyscraper often brute force in those staircases on the karaoke bomb side. That's not going to be a strat available anymore. You can supplement that with the Oza instead if you would like. Asami, I don't see W7M banning it themselves because they used it so well, but they proved me wrong.
You're wrong.
Go for it, wrong. So that means Liquid, they can actually loosen up on their attacker lineup. They don't have to bring the floors every single round and limit Nesk onto that operator that he played on Clubhouse. He can be allowed more freedom. And I mean, freedom out the gate. We see him on Ying, Ask on the A's. Gonis is gonna, replace the Monty with that Osa, as I mentioned earlier, to get, map control, get a comfortable ground as an attacker, because Skyscraper, you don't have very many areas on the map where you feel safe. It's kind of where it plays out like Cafe, where once you drop the red hatch on Cafe, you're always under fire. Well, on this bomb side, if you're walking through the back staircase or up the main staircase, the moment you're like staring anywhere near the bomb side, you're always gonna be held by 2 or 3 different defenders. Now, W7M, they're always going to extend, no matter what map we're talking. Villa, Chalet, Oregon, Clubhouse, and Skyscraper. Yes, the bomb side is on the west-hand side, and we currently are looking at the east, because we're always going to roam around as much as possible. Those jammers slow down the attackers, stall them out, put them on reinforced walls. Liquid either have to deal with the roam and burn down that clock, fight in areas of the map that are very tricky to deal with, or go for a direct bomb set attack. This lineup that Liquid is bringing could do either or. They have both utility, they have firepower, and they have ways in for the roam. Osa shields, Yinkantilla, smoke grenades.
Why are you saying we as if you're an active player?
It's such a bad habit I have from streaming.
Stop saying we, you don't get to play at this level.
When I'm at the hairdresser, I'm always like, oh, we are gonna do something. They're like, who's we? I'm like, oh, it's my chat and I need more friends, Parker. That's what it comes down to.
It's so sad.
Maybe I just miss being a player. I don't know.
So sad.
It's kind of sad, man.
Sad all forlorn. Extension hold now towards Geisha as we start off with round number 1.
Oh, we start off with round number 1.
Yes, you and I and everybody watching are starting off with our broadcast.
Okay.
And that is round number 1.
Our broadcast. Oh, that sounds
correct.
It's gonna be a slow start of this. Liquid cannot afford to lose any members right now, especially not to spawn peaks. We saw that happen where, I mean, it was Ask spawn peaking, but Casey getting the kill, so a bit of a reverse peak, if you will, at that. Casey, star member for W7M thought groups, and there are 3 members right now that are in pretty much all top 5 categories throughout this major. Rating, KD, entry, planned, and consistency. Casey, Paolo, and Hertz. They're in every single category, basically. Lagonis, he's the top planner, sure, and Volps, he's also in that second position of the entry area. But my point is, there are so many star members in this server from the entire major, performance-wise.
I mean, KZ had a quiet Clubhouse in map number 1, but so did the rest of W7M. They really only had that good streak of 3 rounds. I mean, I guess 4 out of 5 were won, but still, it was domination by Liquid. There goes one of those Osa shields, Talon shield put down, and Prompts Lagonis to back up towards that karaoke wall. It's a toxic canister. You got to get out of there. Ask and Lagonis taking so much damage in the process. Nesk, the first one to die. Resets, trades him back, and Alu with the skeleton key, continuing from where he was in the previous map.
Starts things off hot. And that talent shield right here, that's how you would supplement out the Monty, because you want to get that stable position. But with 1 HP left and 1 talent shield gone, I mean, you can use your smoke grenades, but Casey's on the ward and he has to counter utility. Liquid with 25 seconds left has to make a decision now.
Where's Lagonis going to go with his 1 HP and diffuser in hand? Nick, that's not good if there's a smoke on the board, and Julio still has one of those gas canisters left. Ask has been dropped. Down goes Palu. Never mind. Oh,
trap.
Okay, 4 kills in quick succession. Round number 1 goes in favor of W7M.
It's a sloppy start. I mean, that toxic canister did so much damage to both Nesk and Lagonis, and when you lose the Ying, that's the main execute operator. Sure, Oza gets you in the building, and you can hide behind those shields, but you can't really get further than that because Warden can see through the smokes, and you can only really smoke off one area when the Ying falls. That makes things more difficult. There's a good read, good idea, philosophy from Team Liquid, but W7's attack, or sorry, defenses are very dynamic. They set up their pieces for various outcomes. The rush, the roam, the warden for the smoke grenades, they even had impacts for the Oza, so they were very well prepared for that attack.
Bomb located by attacker.
We'll extend over to office now. The other top floor bomb site appearing. What we saw being brought from Team Liquid, vertical play is especially important on this map, but if you bring a Buck, you bring a Zofia, you've got some options at your disposal. Team Liquid just finishing off their operator repick section. It seems like they're actually going to forego some of those hard or those soft breachers, but at the last second, Ask will sit on Zofia. No Buck, no Sledge. Not a ton of soft destruction, frankly, but doubling up on the hard breach with both Hibana and Ace.
Yeah. Again, it's all about having enough tools to deal with any problem, really. The Kite here, if you don't bring the Thatcher, for example, you can't get it through the walls. It's very difficult on Skyscraper, and sure, you got secondary EMPs, but then you gotta bring like an IQ to locate exactly where those claws are, or spend so much time droning out those positions. Instead, 1 EMP goes out, Selma, and gets a line of sight, then the Claw, if you toss another one, can reactivate, but instead, I'm just gonna take that trade. It's also a vault hole from that Selma chart, so it's not an easy injury point for the attackers. This mirror window overlooks both the bomb site and the exterior balcony. It's hard for Liquid to approach it head on, especially with that wall being soft. With the rotate, Julio can get very aggressive in this position.
Double Claymore too from Liquid on the Ace and the Zofia. It's the same that we saw back on Clubhouse, and we're wondering what the application of that would be. It could also just be that maybe Liquid don't feel like any of the other secondary gadgets are particularly worthwhile on those 2 operators, so.
I mean, you have a lot of windows in Skyscraper, and for this particular attack, they might not need them, but if they want to go for a different attack middle of the round, at least they got them this information.
On this map, it makes total sense to me, because you've got so much jump out potential for W7M. There goes that first logic bomb, but he'll be silenced as you step into the radius of the mute jammer, and mute jammers abound in the bomb site. Herds providing his teammates a bit of a reprieve from the annoyance as the phones ring away. Is Palu gonna run in here?
I think he is.
Providing he's svelte enough, slim enough to get in through that opening. Liquid putting their hard breach to good use. Right now, it seems like it's a pincher play from Liquid. That pincer move onto Volps, who's still positioned up by Dragon. Flicking away, but he can't outduel Nesk. Nesk lined up in a position where he could have gotten more than 1 kill. The guns from Liquid tearing through soft walls, tearing through those barricades. Nesk will follow up on the Selma that opens up from Dragon towards the bomb site. It's exactly where one of the toxic canisters from W7M will go. JV is 1 in hand, there it is, and that's expended all of the gas. 30 seconds left. A gas canister answered back by a smoke of resets.
The flank.
Shrouding the push. Herds by drum right now, runs into resets. Resets prevails. KZ first kill for W7M. Julio on the board too. Lagonis' gun finds its mark. Behind the bar, not too far away, there's damage that can be done. But from below, Julio will take the nitro cell. Can he stop the plant in time? Lagonis, for a moment, immobilized. All of them losing out to JV, but Lagonis can't hop back on the diffuser in time. And that's W7M starting a streak of their own as they're up 2-0.
Liquid couldn't break that choke point. I mean, once you get Dragon Control, that's the first step done, but going into the bomb set itself is problematic, just like that previous time. Julio dropped below, had a C4 in pocket, didn't even rip it or use it at any given moment, but if the plant were to go down, I mean, he is downstairs, and if he has enough information, he can find that kill easy peasy. Wasn't needed. The clock, again, the biggest enemy for Team Liquid. They're playing methodical, strategical, they're playing together, they're crossing every single box. Even the flank got shut down when Hertz attempted it. But there are 17 seconds left when Paolo got that kill. You have 17 seconds to get through 2 different rooms onto the bomb site with no drone information. And you gotta peek the right angle, win the initial gunfight, and try and get that diffuser down. It's too much.
Well, it seems like Liquid might be swapping things up. Putting Palu on that Twitch with the F2 in hands is a terrifying prospect. A sledge comes out from Nesk. Only a single hard breacher for Liquid. But I got to imagine that the Ying of Ask will be bringing the secondary hard breach gadgets. No, actually. Smokes instead. 4 smoke grenades from Team Liquid.
And no Warden this time.
Oh boy, they do have Evil Eye cams on the side of W7M and a Bulletproof from Aruni. So at least 3 devices from the defenders will be able to see through those smokes, and they will be immune from the blinding that will come from the 4 Candelas in the hands of Ask.
Lagonis can't afford to die. That means no hard breach, and that is a goodbye on the round. Casey's going to utilize the impact grenade to deny the summon charge. Of course, another one can just go on out. Again, we're just trading utility for utility. Those impact grenades are not needed elsewhere because you already got the shotgun operators, Aruni for those rotation holes.
Yeah, I mean, pretty good value for an impact grenade to take out
Great value
of hard breach, especially as you pointed out that Liquid only has a single hard breacher. No way. Julio goes unknown inside a bathroom. I don't think Palu spotted him at all. You do not want a Maestro in that position. There is a drone in front of him, but it hasn't gone on just yet. I wonder if Julio has been keeping an attentive eye on the drone.
Looks like no one's gonna act, so I don't think either party knows the exact whereabouts of these drones or key positions. But Liquid, thankfully for them, they don't really approach that. Instead they go elsewhere, they go upstairs.
And the Candelas to go off. Herds the very first pick. Frost mats have a huge amount of value on this map because of the sheer number of hop-ins that you see. As Claymores have value for the attackers, so too do the Frost mats, because your entry point for most teams is going to be the Vault. And as Palu vaults in, he finds 2 quick kills. A third as the Frost is just out of reach, slipping through his fingers. Ask takes out Volps, but KZ trades him back immediately. Logic bombs go off to give the whereabouts of the last 2 players of W7M to Team Liquid, find themselves in a 3v2. Case in the hands of Lagonis. It'll be a bona fide 2v2 when Lagonis goes for that execute. And with the smokes on the board, still 2 in the back pocket of Palu's Twitch, you got to imagine that an execute is on the minds of Liquid.
Yeah, ideally Paolo's gonna use that smoke grenade, and then of course the Evil Eyes, if they can see it, that's a problem. They punch it out, the plan can go down. 35 seconds, it's a guessing game for W7M.
Hit the 30-second mark. Lagonis falls off. Is he being spam pinged? Does he just not like his positioning? Yes, he is being spam pinged. KZ from above, they can hear this Vigil making a ton of noise. Frostmat? Is that what that was? No? What was that sound that we just heard? Oh, Herds out dueling Palu. Lagonis gets the diffuser down, and Herds is the one to follow up on it. He's the last man standing. Damage is done to Lagonis. Resets will need to clutch as the diffuser continues to tick away. He's far enough back, removed from the action. But can he get a clear line of sight to that diffuser? Herds is going to hop on it. Resets might not be able to get the beat on him. As he charges up, Herds is going to stick it, and he does enough damage, but no, W7M still gets it, as Liquid's a little bit too slow to the punch.
Surprised he wasn't up above that vertical No real cover for Lagonis, just fighting for entirely alone. MGD's primary, went into the pistol, pre-firing away, 1 HP in the corner. When Paolo again did so much work, found so many openings, but eventually in that 1 versus 2, that's where Liquid they fall. And those evil eyes, they were such a big trouble for them. They had upstairs control for Kitchen, they could have rotated around, but the issue is Hurts played that so well. He rotated around the map in a safe environment and got to that restaurant lobby area, cutting the bomb site in half horizontally, while his teammate on the Vigil up above cut it vertically. Liquid had no stable ground to play on and had no information to work with. 3-0 now. I mean, things are just flipped. Defenders are feeling great right now in this matchup. Liquid, they started off so strong on Clubhouse because they won the first 5 defenses in a row, and W7M are on a great path to, do that same exact thing. The mentality, the mental game is really what it comes down to. Can Liquid now stay in it and just go round by round? The comeback is possible because in 2 rounds from now, even if W7M goes 5-0, you swap sides. And if you just thrive that much more in defense, it can get tied up really quickly.
It's a full rotation for W7M. As in keeping with Skyscraper, don't see that bedroom bomb site on the first floor. It shows up from time to time, but the old favorable rotation is that karaoke T-bomb site on the top floor, office just across the hall, and then barbecue down below. Barbecue being exactly where the diffuser was walked in and then planted. We saw W7M clutch out. It's back upstairs to karaoke and T. Geisha, always a primary focus here for the attacking squads. You need to be able to open that up because then it denies any rotation from out of karaoke into that offsite portion of the map.
It's also rather easy access. I mean, it's an exterior wall, nothing can stop you. I mean, they can try and bandit trick, but it's not very common. And there's a window below, but KC, aggressive run out, punishes Ask. This is troublesome because it was Lagonis on Ace last time with no secondary heart breach. This time it's Ask, he dies. Look at it again. No secondary heart breach for Liquid.
Oh my. Good news that you have resets. Team Liquid, you've lost Nesk, who instead of using the Gemini, just goes in himself. Liquid suffering blows at the hands of W7M, and yep, you're absolutely correct. This is just a mirror matchup at the moment of what we saw on Clubhouse. They match Liquid's total of 5 rounds in a row. W7M are certainly positioned to do so. But with a team like Liquid, and especially Palu available for Liquid, you can never count them out.
Liquid's gotta go off the paper right now and just try and lurk around and find these kills because you cannot play methodical siege right now. It's too predictable, you don't have the numbers advantage. Just go in and get crazy, enable your gunners. Oh, the timing.
Oh, Palu just missing out. Sees the Malusi, will spray through the wall, and he gets lucky on a bullet pen hit, but not enough to do any serious damage. Resets, caught by the double impacts. Lagonis will need to come to his rescue. He's not able to get him in time. A good suicide play from KZ to trade out. It's Lagonis in a 1v2. Lagoatness. Can he live up to that nickname? Sees the Jaeger's head, missing out onto Julio, but JV now knows his location. Flash goes. Lagonis blinds himself, but not Julio. A peek out from JV, no. Exhibiting the patience that we've come to know from these teams at this level. Lagonis has the case in hand. He'll need to get it down. Julio prone, and it's JV to swing. Intel was there. W7M doing to Liquid what was done to them in map number 1. 4-0, as we are not going to have a close map at all, it seems.
It's only fair that you repeat the damage that was done to you. And Skyscraper, I mean, we kind of expected things to turn around because the way you attack and play on Clubhouse is very different from Skyscraper. And we see it so far. It's hard to just do the 1-2-3s on attack because so many things can go wrong. And that's exactly what's happening. W7M, they're finding opening kill after opening kill. They have so much map to work with. They're flanking at the right time against Liquid. 4-0. They're gonna keep bringing that same bomb site rotation, same stable, comfortable operators. This bomb site is that utility game. It's the Kaid to deny the initial wall, force out the MPs, Mira to oversee the bomb site. What this does last time is that it forces Liquid to attack from the west-hand side, from that karaoke angle, and roam clear the entire map or try and pick up at the bomb site. That is going to be difficult because of that before-mentioned utility.
10 seconds left.
So it's almost like W7M are trying to funnel Liquid in to what appears to be the better approach, but it really isn't, because it's just not that easy.
Attackers are moving
They do have
out
2
to the
C4s in pocket, make that 3 with JV joining this time as well. So they could very easily roam on the west-hand side, have a member below, with a bit of information or sound cue, a bit of communication, if you will. They can get some C4 kills or damage onto Liquid. Early breach goes out. Palu actually suffered so much damage. I assume that was a spawn peak or something, because no C4s were used, and this was a team damage that was being done. Didn't see it.
Not sure. KZ so lucky to get out of there with his life still intact as Palu on Repel tries to make as much noise as possible. The 2 star players for these teams taking considerable damage. Supporting cast for Liquid cooled off in game number 1 and doesn't really seem to have found their stride yet. The bigger story is Ness going 1-4. Neska's had some heartbreaking performance in the matches that matter the most for Liquid, but when you've got a team as deep as Liquid, sometimes it's okay if Nesk has an off day. You can't have multiple players in that same position.
Speaking off.
I mean, he might have an off day, but not on that kill as KZ drops. He's already softened up, so it wasn't as hard of an engagement as Nesk would have usually had. But by Dragon, that Black Mirror gives Nesk some pause. Halfway point of round number 5, Team Liquid still searching for their very first round.
Yeah, Ness has been flexing on like 3 operas in 5 rounds. The Ying, the Thatcher, now the Nuke. So not really sure where he wants to play and what works for Liquid right now. And I think just trying out different things is the right approach, because if you're down 0-4, you might as well. This mirror window towards Dragon is really stopping the entire push from Liquid. They have a smoke in on Palu, or Reset, sorry, and Twitch drones to go. They could try and break this apart because they have to do something, otherwise it's gonna be a stalemate.
Whilst Nesk still holding up right now. Gunfire over his head, waiting on the rest of his team to come together. Selma from Lagonis will go off. JV tossed out a Nitro. Salin gets the Selma as well as Lagonis. Damage has been done, but still W7M in a pretty good spot. JV is down, pistol, cannot connect. It's a swing. W7M are just pulverizing Liquid at this current point. And Julio gets very confident on the breach. Resets 1 kill for Liquid. Ask taking damage from that electric claw on the wall. Kaid still bleeding out. JV at the halfway point, but holding on to his wounds for now. They see Ask's position out of the office, secures the kill, but again, W7M just don't need to give an inch. They try to isolate the position, but Ask can't do it. 5-0 for W7M.
You look at that. We are exactly where we were on Clubhouse. Now, what W7M did when they were down 0-5 is that they won that 6th round, which gave them enough wiggle room to try and initiate that comeback. Then they lost their first defense. It was 6-1. They won 3 in a row. It was close. And they forced Liquid all the way to take their tactical timeout, slow things down, and reconsider their approach. Liquid, they practically, like, they need this round. If you go 0-6, I mean, not only is your mental chalked, but also one mistake, KZ getting a spawn peek, a C4 just flying through the map, or a grenade in that case, and it's over. You want enough wiggle room to take those risks, to make mistakes, to give yourself just a little bit of leash. And Liquid, they're not sure how to get there. Now it's Ask's turn to play the Nuke. Nesk played it before. Palu goes off the Twitch. He goes into Flores, where you're really just swapping up who plays what operators. And I admire Liquid's flexibility to do this at this level of play, but I feel like it's coming from a place of frustration more so than a place of counterplayer productivity. It seems to be that they don't know which players should be playing which operators right now because no one seems to be getting the results that they want, when in reality this kind of flexibility should only be applied when it's because of a direct counterplay, because of information or how to approach a particular operator. Ask, of course, gonna sneak around downstairs, try and look for an opening. Has drone support as well. Classic Liquid style. Nesk found it in that previous round. Ask might do the same. W7M, they have no idea that he's this close to them.
I was going to say, look at how much space Nesk has been able to close between him and his adversaries. It's the same rotation that we saw. Uh-oh. Ask gets a kill and then immediately gets out of there. Volps is ushered into action. The shotgun blast, you can likely kill the Nook in one hit from such a close range.
So, bandage trick successful. 2 Salma charges, great value there. Only 1 spare in pocket, no secondary heartbeats available. You have 4 grenades and Retero drones. So Liquid got a little bit sloppy there. Couldn't drone out Geisha. No easy access with the drones. They get punished for it, successfully so. Az can find a second, but no, Paolo does instead.
Oh, Liquid desperately needs this. Stop match point from happening in the first half, which would force Liquid to go perfect on the other side of Skyscraper. A reminder that this is happening on each team's other map. This is W7M's choice of Clubhouse going in favor of Liquid, and
he was full HP.
That's incredible. What a shot from Volps.
I can't believe my shotgun doesn't do that.
Do I need to say it again?
Fine. Washed pro player. Nesk, however, he brings the fire.
All of Liquid bringing the fire right now. Volps in a 1v2. Diffuser still in the hands of Lagonis. They box him out of his position right now, playing by the shelves and pantry. He's got to rotate by the stairs. Volps waiting. Aruni gate reset. Nitro cell ripped out it goes, and what? He doesn't pull at the last second. Volps doing great damage to Nesk. Back onto the diffuser, Lagonis goes. Do you trust Nesk? That is the real question. Up with the shotgun. Volps has only 1 more to find, and he'll just dance around it. Lagonis at full HP. Volps makes the impossible possible. First half goes to W7M 6-0.
Oh boy, again, the shotgun doing so much damage in Liquid. I mean, they're in a stable position, and Lagonis, I think he slightly mistimed the plan because there's like 0.something seconds left. I mean, again, it's the 50-50s. Do you get off it and fight? Do you stick it and force him towards you? Either way, Volps, he got enough space on that barbecue bomb site to enable the shotgun, and whether the bomb was down or not wouldn't matter for Lagonis, because the second you get swung, that shotgun is more than likely gonna take you out with that first pellet going through. And now we're here, 6-0. What could potentially be the very first 7-0 of the entire tournament so far. We almost saw it map number 1, where Liquid were up in the lead, but W7M, they denied it. They've lost the map, they've not lost the series yet, they're still fighting tooth and nail for it. They know that Clubhouse as a map just didn't go their way, and they're starting from scratch on Skyscraper. And I truly think that Julio has brought that light to the team and saying, guys, next map, do not let your emotions control you because of what happened. And Clubhouse, we can take it 1 map and 1 round at a time, because they look like they are 100% in this from the very start of Skyscraper. I did not see any lack of confidence. I didn't see any hesitation. They're bringing it each and every single round, each and every single minute of those rounds.
Reloading.
We talked about this during the break, that W7M did not look like themselves. They did not look like the dominant team that can control the pace and tempo of a matchup. And it happens on Team Liquid's choice of Skyscraper, where W7M suddenly gets back to fine form. What can Liquid do to get their head in the game? Lagonis is the only player on the team who, through 6 rounds, has broken 4 kills. That's a pretty miserable tally to find out. When you've got Ness going 3-6, when you've got Palu going 4-6, being effectively shut down by all the threats that W7 has,
It's tough.
It is tough.
When your support player has the most kills in this particular matchup, something is going wrong because your injuries are not finding that success. They're not hitting their marks.
These are largely cleanup kills from Lagonis before they lose the round. So Lagonis could get a pick or 2, but it's when he's in a 1v4 or a 2v4. It's not the predicament you want to find yourself in at all. So the first logic bomb that goes off. Palu guarding the breach that's been opened in office. Ask not too far away. Palu's going to push up. Selma goes, shotgun is out. Palu has to dance around the flash. Things go from bad to worse for Liquid. They're already staring down the barrel of defeat, and a nade will claim Nesk, who goes 3-7 in this matchup. There might be no hope of salvation for him. Villa becoming a very real possibility for map number 3, especially as W7M pick up yet another kill. Asker drops. Lagonis is also down, finished off to Herds. This is Liquid in free fall. Palu in a 1v5. Could it be a flawless end to the first 7-0? No, Palu denies that. But he gets spotted as he heads back into the bomb site, and JV shuts it down. It is at least a 7-0, the first that we've seen yet here in Sweden. We will go to map number 3. What a statement by W7M.
Seeing a 7-0 in this matchup of W7M and Liquid in the semifinals of all plays is not what I expected whatsoever, and not after seeing how Liquid played on Clubhouse as well. Villa's the third map. We can reset for both teams and see what happens there. We need all 3 for this one.
Nothing to hear from us. You're going to want to hear from the desk, because boy, oh boy, that is just... That's one of those games that you're not going to forget, and Liquid probably won't forget it either. They'll have to keep a level head as Villa is up next, but we have a break ready for you, and then we'll come back with a thrilling conclusion and see which of these teams meets BDS in tomorrow's grand final.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Welcome back, friends, to the studio. And yes, it has happened. I can't believe it. It was very quick. And Skyscraper, I thought it would be a bit more exciting than that. If anything, W7M are able to roll over Liquid. I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss for words. And it looked like Liquid walking out into the backstage that they were in the same state as I am. Lost for words. They moved on from being Liquid to solid in map 1, and then to another phase of existence, more like plasma at this point.
It's just W7M back to doing W7M things. They seem very dominant also on this map. It's the first 7-0 we've seen so far during this major. Very confident, and this is actually what I wanted to see from W7M. They seem much more confident in their mid to late round takes. We've seen really good executes from Liquid, right? Clear the other side of the map, put VIP pressure on when they're taking office, make sure they lock off all the rotates for the W7M players, and then there's a player on main stairs from W7M being huge and controlling that downstairs pressure. And there's a flank going on all the way through drums where they catch the players of Liquid off guard. It's the confidence I wanted to see, and this is a really good prospect for W7M.
It's not quite a hot take, but for me, this 7-0 right here is more impressive than breaking the records in groups. Because when you're down in the dumps and you've lost a map that you've been unbeaten on for such a long time, beat BDS on that Clubhouse, and you look so upset, so disappointed after that first map, to get back in that state of mind to go and play, but not only to go and play, to then go on a play on a map that you don't like, and then to go on a play on a map that you don't like against Liquid, and then to go on a play on a map that you don't like against Liquid, and win 7-0, what a reaction.
Yeah, and this was Liquid's map pick, right? But Liquid seemed all but comfortable on their attacks. There were very strange decisions they were making. They, for example, for their downstairs bomb site takes, they would clear upstairs, they would have the geisha control, and then at the moment that the plant was going down, they would forfeit the geisha control or the upstairs control in general, just to be downstairs. And then the plant cover from Nesk wasn't all too good either. Even though they knew where the player was coming from kitchen, they wouldn't swing it. They'd be very hesitant in that. And then you say, oh, Lagones doesn't really trust the plan cover. Well, I understand, because Nesk wasn't really active in it.
There's something about this series that so far we have played, what, 11, 18 rounds in total, and only 4 rounds
Wow.
been attacker rounds. So maybe this is going to matter for map 3. Who knows? But here is our map summary for the second one. 7-0, I mean, there's no two ways around it. I think we're just going to go real quick through this, talk about map 3, because, yeah, that's a statement piece if I've ever seen one.
It's a statement, but also the defenses as well. If you look at how basically no two defenses were the same from W7M, they not only beat them, but they kept Liquid guessing. So, for example, the Karaoke T defense that they did in round 1, where they reinforced the top black walls, expecting a direct take with the Osa, and the Warden and the Smoke, all designed to stop that direct black take. And they played in and around site, turtled in 5 people on site. Then, when it came round again, they were out roaming because they had already expected Liquid's counter to that, and they'd countered it themselves. It was a really dynamic defense by W7M. That's why they got all 6. And then, like I say, once you've got all 6, 7's not too far off.
And if you talk about player performances, KZ and Hertz are back to what we want to see from them. They had a little bit of a more silent first map, but they're very much coming back now. Also, with Julio, we're going to talk about KZ a little bit. Julio, he's only got 5 kills, but he's got 100% cost as well. I mean, I mentioned KZ, right? It's he's, I think, #1 in rating, #1 in KD, and very high in entry as well.
One in my heart. Like, what else do you want?
That's a really nice place to be. But he's also the MVP of this map, which is also a really good spot to be, because I think this will give W7M a lot of confidence going into that third map.
I mean, this all speaks volumes to the mental fortitude of W7M, their support staff, and to Julio, and of course the entire team being able to work together to get not just a victory in map 2, but reiterate 7-0, absolutely rolling over Liquid, especially after map 1 that we thought, hey, Liquid were in the same state, they were able to do it, they were close to doing it, but then failed a few rounds. This is what we were expecting in map 2 maybe, but none of it at all. Let's talk about our third map, Villa. And just to confirm, because I do have this from our production admin team, W7M are starting off on defense, which, like I stated, 18 rounds in total played it so far. 4 rounds out of the 18 were won by the attackers. That has to say something.
Yes, and also if you look at the Copa Elite Finals, which were less than a month ago, W7M actually played this map against Liquid, and they won it 7-5. I have this map as maybe a little bit of a, not the greatest map for either teams, but it's also not a low preference map. They don't necessarily mind it, they don't usually ban it. This is probably why it ended up being the decider for today. But, you know, seeing recent history, W7M being able to beat Liquid already, that might look very scary for Liquid.
And I think if you look at how Villa will play out as well, with the fact that W7M are starting on the defense, that's so much opportunity. The map's massive. There's so much opportunity for the flanks, which we saw them happy to flank every single defense that they were on Skyscraper. They'll be able to do that on Villa because there's 3 staircases. There's also a lot of space for them to make the plays and escape routes, you know, through the trophy statue tree down the middle into jungle. And for Liquid, when attacking Villa is very similar to attacking Skyscraper, where you've got to get that initial map control if you're doing a kind of cross clear, and then you've got to have the cut-offs and the points in sight. Villa's very similar, and Liquid really struggled with that. So if it plays out similarly, I'm very fearful for Liquid on the attack.
looking at the numbers specifically, Liquid's attacking and defensive win rates are worse than W7M's attacking and defensive win rates. So it's not really a good prospect for Liquid, especially coming off of just a map loss where they looked so confident in that first map. They're really going to have to regain themselves.
So very quickly, because their game is ready here, are you saying that this is W7M, the grand final?
I think so.
It's Liquid's Achilles heel. We talked about it. It's the golden triangle.
They're in the ascendancy. They're in the ascendancy. The finish line's in sight. I would say I put them slightly in the ascendancy, but Liquid have the quality. And Liquid are now the one that we need to see the mental fortitude and resilience from.
All right, that's a lot of pressure on Liquid and on W7M, but they'll be feeling a bit better after that map to 7-0 washout. Let's see. Will we have a washout on Villa? Will it be closer? Will it be like that 7-5 that Anne was talking about? We'll have to see in the server. Back to our casters after the break.
With the new season that is coming, we are very happy to announce that we will be launching the new reputation system. Since 2020, we have been deploying part of it during a shadow deployment to gather a lot of data from our player base in order to provide a sustainable solution for the long term. We will be starting with the first release in a beta display. The reputation system will be looking at your gameplay behaviors, but also your interaction that you have with players. Based on that, it will paint a portrait of you and assign a specific standing. Then based on this standing, we will be triggering, during year 8, a set of actions that will be bonuses or penalties. When we talk about penalties based on your low standing, we mainly talk about game restriction toward the game mode. So for example, a player will not have an access to the competitive playlist, but also the test server. But we will also add restrictions and modifier to the currency, the alpha pack, the progressions. By providing guidance, information, and by bringing this new standing icon, we will be improving the play experience of everybody. When we are looking at the number of rounds impacted with at least one team kill per round, we can see a decrease of 10%. And I'm talking about per round, not per match. So this is great. We want to move away from the toxicity that the people are facing, and we want to improve the gameplay experience and provide a safer place for everybody. We are really glad to say that we will be removing the friendly fire from the preparation phase. We heard you. By removing it, we are just securing the whole experience for everybody. So there will be no mistake anymore, so that everybody can focus on their preparation phase and then start the battle. In terms of design, if you shoot at a teammate, there will be no damage, there will be no reverse friendly fire, and the bullet will not go through. I hope you will enjoy this new change, and we will be looking at your feedback during the season launch. We are always looking at new solutions to bring more security into the game, but also to better protect all players against cheating. And this is a priority for us. The team, over the past months, has been working hard to bring a new security measure to fight cheating. The goal is to decrease the cheating problem that you are facing, and we are really confident in this new solution that we are bringing into the game. We will monitor the effectiveness of it on our player base, on the cheater, and for sure, I will come back to you with some insights.
final map of the day, and it will determine which team goes to the semi. Oh, so are we behind schedule for you?
I mean, I think W7M thought so because they just sped ran the second map.
That is correct. What's going to happen on Villa? Both of these teams taking their opponent's map choices, and W7M doing so perfectly without dropping a single round. They are a frightening team for many reasons. They have an embarrassment of riches when you look at their roster, and you got to see it on display in Skyscraper. Operator bands coming in, and it's Villa to seal the deal. If I had to tell you, or if I had to ask you right now and put you on the spot, against BDS, is it going to be W7M or is it going to be Team Liquid? What's your guess?
Oh boy. My heart says Liquid, my brain says W7M. They've been so dominant time and time again. And honestly, if they were kind of hesitating a bit on Skyscraper, showing a bit of weakness, I would side with Liquid. But they looked like they were playing it 100% despite what happened on Clubhouse. So I gotta go with my brain on this one. I gotta go W7M, but I hate to say it because Liquid, I mean, they're always so close, but never quite there. Since 2018, Team Liquid have had 3 different finishes in Tier 1 in 2nd place. They've had 3 different placements in semifinals as well. And they've had 2 placements where they go between 5th and 8th place. They get so close so often, but they never quite make it. And when they do, they don't even win. So it's such a tease. I would love for Liquid to make it all the way, to show that they still have what it takes. But I have to say, it comes down to Nesk. If Nesk fails to show up, there's a pattern. And I hate to bring it up. It hurts me to say it. But whenever, and you kind of spoke on it earlier, Parker, on Skyscraper, whenever Liquid has these really defining moments, a map, a round, a victory, a match, whatever the case might be, Nesk seems to be hiding. He's not there taking these things away for his team. It's Paolo in Clubhouse. Hands down, single-handedly just did so much work. It was nobody on Skyscraper. It has to be someone on Villa, otherwise we know what happens. And it's going to be a W7M victory in that case.
Nesk long been one of the leaders on this team. Team Liquid made,
Oh, no.
Speaking of Nesk, denied access to spawn into this round. Peaked immediately by Herds, and W7M have the first pick in the first 10 seconds of round number 1.
Confidence, aggression, and again, this is one of those, I mean, we can almost just scratch this round off the board. You would rather forget about this if you're Liquid. We're like, let's go for a rehost, start it over, go next round, whatever, because this is just not how you want to start out mentally. Because already now, W7M, they're just in the driver's seat. They got you exactly where they want you. Big open map, dynamic in the way you can play it. They got the mirror windows. Paolo almost got the kill. He's got to chase it.
It's the hop in as well. There's a mirror window there. The Goyo.
Wow.
Fading back. KZ still has his life intact. Out goes a flashbang. Palu goes for a desperation vault with limited intel. KZ still wins the engagement. It's a battle of the Titans between 2 of the best players in the world at the moment, and Palu comes out on the wrong side of it. Still half the round to go, and W7M can sit pretty on their defense. Oh, resets, doing lots of damage to Herds. That's payback for what he'd done to Nesk earlier on in the matchup. Through the soft wall, KZ still in a precarious position. Immobilized for a second as the EE1D goes off. KZ sees long range, but he's in a bad spot.
He's out somehow. I see why Paolo went for that chase because, I mean, when you lose this to a spawn, you gotta, just go for it. The round is already in a bad position. KC has leveraged so much time for this position. He's looking to go aggressive again, opting for that flank instead of falling back. It's a free pick on Zolagonis. Things are falling apart.
How is KZ allowed to do this down below? That's the real question. Spam through the walls, it'll open things up. He's still in such good spot. Now it's Ask who gets collapsed upon by Volps. The Vectors hitting their marks. W7M have now won 8 rounds in a row.
I can tell you how Casey did that. He's the #1 rated player throughout this entire event. Also, weird flex, but okay. Intero used to be an award-winning server. He once won an Employee of the Month award at a fancy restaurant in Canada. He won't stop bragging about it, and we're already sick of the story. award-winning server. That's quite an achievement, actually.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. I believe it. Honestly, I'm not really tired of hearing it because you don't brag that often about what you did before being a caster.
We were asked about these fun facts, and I have lived such a painfully boring life. I really don't have many to contribute.
It's not true.
You know, certainly not one as interesting as the fact that I get overcome with anxiety should I be late for class, but...
I mean, you don't get anxious about being late ever, Parker, because you're always 5 minutes later than the rest of us because you're that VIP status, you know? Because you will show up when you're needed, not 5 minutes before you're needed.
There's like, the whole group will be late, and I get blamed for it.
I mean, okay, that's true. Actually, that's true.
I'm the one that'll get yelled at.
Yeah, when we were at the NAL...
You guys were supposed to be here 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we're like, it was Parker's fault.
I literally was on time. Don't look at me.
Nah, you're not late in the sense that, you know, things that go poorly because of it. It's just that you realize that you're not always needed on the time that you're told, so you show up a little bit later. It's no shame.
On my time.
Yeah, on your time. We're on your time now.
W7M playing last map and so far round number 1 on their time, Nick. First round, we didn't really touch on the operator bans. Ace and Ying removed from action. I mean, the mute makes a bit of sense. Valkyrie is very standard, but there's a lot to dig into here. 30 seconds into round number 2, and we can spend some time going over the 3 operators that won't be played that don't exactly have the highest ban rates.
Yeah, I mean, the Ying is a target ban onto Team Liquid's execution operator. We saw that being utilized kind of on both Clubhouse and on Skyscraper, although not with that much success. And then Ace, that ranged Heartbeat target ban, forcing the attacking side onto Hibana. Arguably their worst weapon, but at least you get flashbang, so extra piece of utility. Paolo goes to the repel in, but the sound cue gives it away. It's a free kill for Hertz, and it's starting off on the wrong foot once more. Unironically, the Hibana actually is a phenomenal heart-breaching operator to bring, even though it's not that common. Whereas the mute ban, it just makes you able to drone and breach things easier. Nesk finds that kill we spoke about. He's finding some value on the board, but he's 1 HP now.
Dare from Volps, who was the hero of a previous round. Taken out by Nesk, still in this position, answered back by Hertz. Controlling and holding command out of 90. Down goes Julio to Lagonis. Hertz picked off as well. Liquid boxed them out of the bomb site. It's all on the shoulders of JV92, but that beautiful crossfire from Liquid breaks the streak. Teams tie up at 1 apiece.
I think it's going to be a close Villa game, I have to say. I mean, statistically, we can talk about sides because why not? Let's do it. It favors defenders, 57% overall, so not a crazy situation there, but still an advantage. Of course, AVG and Kitchen leading the charge on win rates. Trophy is 3rd, technically 2nd because the other ones are tied for 1st. And Living Library being played 1 single time so far this event in 7 Villa games. And whoever played it, they won it. So 100% win rate. Statistically the best bomb site, one could say. This Dining Kitchen bomb site proved to be difficult in the matchups that we saw yesterday when it was Sonics against TSM. Capcan traps an issue, very big map, extend all around, and honestly, I think a lot of these rounds for the attacking side for both teams, frankly, is gonna come down to Nuke. Finding opening kills. As we saw Nested in that previous round, it brings so much value because of the sheer size and scale of Villa. I mean, the basement, there's no bomb site down there, but it's massive. 3 staircases up, hatches if you're Oryx, etc. Capcan, a very familiar operator for this bomb site, again, because of how much map space you're trying to soak up as a defender. It's Paolo's turn on Nuke this time. This is gonna go on the Buck duty instead, as he's needed for that verticality, if Liquid were to go above.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
KZ's waiting for that window to get shot out in Astro with the Nitro Cell in hand. And there it is. Lined up perfectly. He gets away.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Julio down below is an Electric Claw. Looking to do some denial onto what I imagine is that triple panel wall from above. That's the one that leads from the bedroom into Statuary. Flash from Nesk as an E1D of Lion will go off. Hertz is able to get away from it as a logic bomb rings through as well. These annoying operators that Liquid brings for W7M do not really cause much of an issue, at least yet. No damage done to W7M either.
That's the thing, you kind of need to act upon these gadgets being utilized. I mean, they use them so Nesk can get out safely through a flashbang, Lion Charge, he jumps back, actually stays alive. So it's a passive usage of that gadget, but look, no one's helping Nesk roam clear this. Meanwhile, Ask, he's challenging the bomb site.
Nesk is the first death. Heard a call of what sounded like frustration. Entirely impossible to know what it was. Numbers being equalized and Liquid coming out ahead. They managed to get the down onto JV. This is far more like the Liquid that we are used to. But Volps with that shotgun seems to be on a whole other level. Now it's Ask who gets gunned down by KZ. Toxic Canister goes out. Just under a minute and a half to go. Both Palu and Resets below 50% HP, full HP on the benches of W7M. Sets them up quite effectively. Keep in mind, there might be Capcan traps still on the board. That'll kill both of these two remaining players from Liquid if they hit one.
Yeah, I mean, now this he reaches the read, gets the flank shot down. Last moves falls 1 HP, but take grenade! It takes him off the board as well. And Liquid, it looked like they couldn't do it in that round because they could not get into that bomb site. But they don't need to plant, they just get the kills instead.
Did a single player from Liquid get into the bomb site except at the very end with a million of resets barged on in? Certainly didn't seem like it. Liquid now get 2 in a row. They've got the lead here, and it's actually been an awfully long time since Liquid had the lead. Well over an hour of waiting and playing from behind against this W7M squad.
Yeah. I mean, Skyscraper did fly by, but 7 rounds, commercial break, analyst test breakdown, we go on screen. It has been an hour plus since Liquid actually had the advantage until now, and it's gotta feel good, especially how that round played out. Nesk did not get the support that he needed nor deserved to clear that roam, but honestly, that didn't seem to be Liquid's focus because while that was happening, they were applying bomb site pressure, and I will say, once Nesk fell early in the round, he immediately jumped onto 2 different flank drones. One of those drones got Paolo a kill on that library flank later in the round. The second one spotted the member inside pantry where Paolo almost got the second kill later on. So there is value in losing a team member early on if you have a good drone network, and Liquid, they had exactly that.
10 seconds into live action, setup work still being done just to pretty up the bomb site for W7M. Back to Aviator games. This is where W7M won their only defense up to this point. The first rotation was Aviator Trophy and Kitchen. Palu almost gets lucky.
Lucky.
I want to say lucky, but I mean, Palu seems to make his own luck. You said the win con was Nesk having a good game. They've put him on hard breach right now.
I know, like, what's happening?
And I mean, he still gets the job done. Shades of another grand finalist, and we can say that now as Shaiko used to play that Hibana, as people remember.
Oh yeah.
Secondary hard breach on the team, but still capable of fragging well with both the Type 89 and the Bearing as that secondary. Another member of W7M is fed like lambs to slaughter as KZ cannot contain Nesk. And it's been the Nesk story over this last round and a half.
If there's one member that you can get a kill on onto W7M, it's gotta be Casey. That's the biggest value factor. Because when he plays with confidence, he will find all these gaps in your attacks or your defensive side. And Casey's confidence has to be challenged right now for him because they're getting shut down. Look at this, another shutdown for Ask.
Nowhere for W7M to go. They're clearing all the players off of the exterior of the bomb site, but then still have to focus on the bomb site itself. Only one player from W7M sits in that position, and it's Julio. He'll hang on to those 3 toxic canisters as they gain greater value. Volps is close enough to get back into the bomb site, but he'll have to dare so through study or a run on classical hallway. Liquid have the man count to put somebody over towards 90 or to pinch from Model. Down goes that deployable shield that was looking at Model. So they can walk in. That forces Julio out of his position. No, he wants to take the engagement, and he does so. Vault in succeeding. Julio picks up yet another. Volps looking at the doorway. There's one by the window. He has to play with his food for but a moment as he dances around the doorway and manages to escape alive. Liquid find Julio, and it's a grenade from below as Ass picks up 3 kills on the round, and it's a 3rd round as well for Liquid.
It seems to go one way for these teams right now. I mean, the Frost Trap and Study when a jump in actually injured Lagonis and made things look a little bit dire for a moment there. But basically almost like a timeout in the middle of that round for Liquid, right? They find 2 kills off Nesk, they find that third, then they completely let go of every single W key on their keyboards. They stand still, they drone out the members, they get into comfortable positions, and they were gonna set up that plant. Lagonis gonna jump in Study window, jump on in, plant on that black box or chassis position. 2 members of Liquid on top red has the bomb site cut in half, and the 5th member is going to be on the balcony covering the rotation from top main so that Lagonis cannot get flanked. I mean, structurally, from the top-down view, it looked like it was classic Rainbow Six Siege played almost perfectly, but a simple Frost Trap really spun that out of control and almost made it look like Liquid could lose the round. Casey's been trying really hard to force these engagements. And Nesk, I mean, he's showing up, he's shutting it down. He played Harpy to run round and it went so well. And immediately, again, we changed the operators around. Seems to be the same trend for Liquid. They keep doing this. Whether they're failing or succeeding in rounds, they just keep changing on who plays what operator. Now Lagonis is on floors. Resets on Hibana. Before it was Lagonis on Hibana. After that it was Nesk. It's madness to keep track of, to be frank with you.
So, the last time that these teams met on this map was map number 2 of the upper bracket finals in the Copa Elite 6. The operator bans looked quite similar. Ying, Valkyrie were removed on the side of Liquid. W7M banned out the Dokkaebi and the Smoke. Speaking of the operator that Julia was playing last round, he switched on to Castle and he is as good as Dad Volps, hunted down by Nesk. This is the vintage Nesk that we are accustomed to seeing, and he'll continue onwards as KZ meets his fate at the hands of the Brazilian god himself. Could it be? No? Only 2 kills for Nesk, but it's narrowed. W7M down to 1, and it's Palu there as the backup, the 1-2 punch for Liquid, and they seem motivated by this. That's their 4th round in a row, happening so brisk that I can't even get through what I was trying to say, Nick.
I can't believe my eyes. I mean, round 1 for Liquid was a completely different scenario than what we're seeing the last 4 rounds. I mean, sure, Nesk got spawn picked originally, which prompted Liquid to just aggress in towards the building and chase down KC, who then overcame those obstacles and found 3 kills. But since round number 2 and going to where we are now, Liquid are just firing at all, from all cylinders, at all angles, constantly. Nesk walks in top main into that bar, and you know what's happening? The member who's Casey is getting Twitch drone sapped while Nesk is fighting him, and he's looking out for this Twitch on the floor while Nesk just walks in and takes that free kill.
It is concerning stuff for this team. I was again going to reference these numbers because I think they should tell us what is happening and inform us of the drubbing that we are seeing Team Liquid put on W7M. This map's been played by both teams here in Jönköping. W7M, 7-3 over Black Dragons in yesterday's quarterfinal. Team Liquid lost to TSM on the final day of groups, but in all fairness, that matchup did not matter at all for Team Liquid.
No, they were already qualified.
They had already qualified, they'd gotten 15 points. There's no way any team in the group could have overtaken them for first. So maybe Liquid didn't take that map as seriously as they could have. Back in Copa Elite 6, as we were discussing when these teams met in the upper bracket finals back in October, it was a 7-5 victory for W7M on this map. Well, Team Liquid are already closing in on that mark of 5 rounds, which would mean that when that happens, W7M might have to win 5 or 6 in a row. That puts Team Liquid in mighty fine shape right now, and doing this on attack on Villa is equally impressive.
Saying a very vertical bomb site on AVG. This is very old school Villa actually, where you used to play this with a mirror and you can play below with like 3 or 4 members in C4 if they were to try and plant above. Liquid, of course, last time they attacked this bomb site, didn't get that 5v5 as Nesk did get spawn peaked very early on. So we don't know their exact approach. But the downstairs hold from W7M is very much a focus for them. Liquid are gonna pick it apart, go elsewhere. They got the tools for it. Flores, Lion, 4 grenades. But again, it's all come down to the entries. If Liquid can find an opening kill, they just storm through the map with that momentum. However, if they get shut down, they start slowing things down to try and find an opening somewhere else. It's gonna be a rotate. They say no. Go master bedroom. Nisk is there. He knows it's clear. He's drone. You see it through the map right now. They can storm on in once Nisk is off that cam, take half the map in control, avoid the roam game, and W7M, they can try and respond, but I think it's too late.
I mean, Neska's been good enough to get a kill and then get traded out, which at this level, getting a single kill in a single round,
it's pretty good.
It's a mighty fine accomplishment to have.
Yeah.
See the average KD, and if it's a 1.1, then you're in very good shape.
Asking 90 already. He's been there for a while, actually. Just, again, holding that rotation and ensuring that W7M cannot make a play here. Liquid, again, they have half the map at their disposal. Astro Stairs and Nisk is all the way towards 90, and now they're sitting tight, waiting for something to happen for W7M to make the first move or to find the opening.
Oh, there's W7M hitting the board first, a second as well. Ask and resets are taken out of action. Palu through the drone hole will light up the feet of KZ, but can't accomplish anything more than about 70% of KZ's life being removed. Oh, just behind that bookshelf. Nesk doesn't seem to know where they are. Look to the right. We hear the Mozzie of Julio. He does indeed see him.
Wow, good read.
Another is there as well. Liquid find 2 on the board. W7M just evading those players on the first floor, now falling back to the bomb site. Those are the last 3 remaining.
No more nades. I mean, Nisk has one in pocket, but he's gonna fall back towards that red staircase. The Goni's staring down to keep it barrier and that laser gate. Palu, he has to find some value in study balcony because you cannot sit and wait for something to happen. You gotta be the one to make it work.
And Herds catches Lagonis, trying to swing from the door. They triple up. Liquid came close, but then fell apart all within the span of 5 seconds. And the last round of the first half, as the first round of the first half breaks to W7M, that whole middle portion going to Team Liquid 4 rounds in a row. And it sets them up quite nicely now to go on to defense here in Villa.
Yeah, I mean, Villa is quote-unquote defender-sided. Where that matters here, no one can tell. It could be that both teams are going to find success on their attacking side. It all comes down to how you go about these rounds individually in a vacuum. AVG, I do think the way these two teams played out is going to be the strongest defender bomb side. And it makes sense why both teams choose to start here. The reason why I say this is because that AVG has such a strong bomb site to hold itself, it's very hard to break. The crossfires you can establish, the safe positions at the bar, the vault, etc. With the Sami being open, I mean, you can make every area fortifiable, as you saw W7M do themselves. Of course, it's also no surprise that Liquid, just like W7M, they choose to extend out both below and across the map. We're gonna try and put out a fishnet and see kind of what you can catch, because somewhere on this map there's going to be members of W7M trying to find an opening. Oh, and Julio, he will go for the Monty to ensure safety for himself and his team as they approach the map. So they're gonna go master bedroom and clear from one side of the building all the way across. Now, Monty's a slow operator, so you gotta make quick work of both droning yourself in and extending out across the map. Essentially, what you gotta do is something that we call leapfrogging, where you have one member start droning, and once you get in the building, the guy who's very far away will get into the building, and the guy who's already in the building will start droning forward. That way you ensure that everyone's in the same-ish area on the map, instead of one person being on the bomb side and one person being all the way back in spawn. Because when you play the Monty, you want as many guns nearby as possible. You're already down one, as Monty himself is gonna have that shield in his hands instead of a weapon he can fight with.
It's been bullet sprayed from both these teams so far, but none that have hit their mark. Monty being walked in. Herds side by side with Julio. One of the first casts that I ever did with Brazil involved Julio on a Monte, and it is nice, or on a Blitz. It is nice to see him reunited with a shield operator. As I was talking about that, Liquid suffering the loss of Palu, and now Ask as well, as Julio will take matters into his own hands. The Mountain will move forward. unsheath his pistol and do some serious damage. Ness cannot outduel Herds. W7M putting in some serious work as they now try to damage the Montane as much as possible. Resets in brutal spot, and it's been a double trade. Lagonis, the only one remaining for Liquid unless resets can be picked back up, and that's exactly what Lagonis will try to do. But is the coast clear? JV in this position, but Lagonis slaughters him. It's KZ to secure the final kill and put him into a 1v1 against Lagonis. He has an idea, an inkling, you can say. He'll shrug off that damage from the shotgun of Lagonis. KZ holds the diffuser. A minute to go in the standoff between the teams. Both phenomenally talented players. KZ, the top-rated player at the moment. He has to get towards the Aviator Games bomb site. He sprints in that direction. Lagonis hot on his heels. But looking at the angle, KZ swiftly removes Lagonis. And W7M pick up yet another round.
Incredibly intense 1 versus 1. So many ways those players can play it. You can aggress, you can play passive, play with information or a sound cue, swing if you're confident. Lagonis got the timing right. The second KZ picked up the diffuse, he got a free shotgun hit onto his back and back right leg. Doesn't kill him though, it just injures him instead. And what looked like a very convincing, almost flawless round became into a 1 versus 1 because every single member of Liquid, well, they were just throwing bodies at the Monty. Those were side anchors going all the way up in the fray, fighting with the roamers there. And I will say, it shouldn't have been that easy for the attackers because the walls were triple reinforced from statue into master bedroom, and there was no heart breach on the attacking side. Sure, Monty can walk in and grant you an opening here and there, but it was way too easy for them. Liquid did not have the crossfire established, likely because they weren't expecting the Monty at all. Julio's not going to play it this round. He's chosen to play Hibana instead, but Volps will actually go from Dokkaebi onto the Monty instead. So the phone calls are not going to be ringing. So the positions of Liquid are not going to be exposed as easily. But you still get the Monty. Julio having a better game on the scoreboard than Volps could be one of the reasons why he wants to be enabled more in that fracking position. And then Volps just do the Monty work instead. I'm a big fan if that's the case, to just let the people who are shining KD-wise to keep doing so. Because typically when you play the Monty, you're not going to find a lot of kills. Although, it can happen.
The gap between the teams. Once wide, now is tightened up. KZ playing better and better as this matchup goes on. Volps on the Montane this time. Over towards Trophy and Statuary, they will go.
It's gonna be a quiet round as the pressure is building up. KC using the nuke to his advantage. Again, it favors a slow round. It keeps Liquid guessing as to where he might be, and he's gonna find one in just a second.
There he has it. Ask appears, but Palu was waiting for it. It's a game of whack-a-mole, it seems, as yet another player from Liquid pops up. I mean, you've traded out KZ. You said it before. If there is ever a player where you gain the most value from a single kill on a W7M, it's KZ, and with the way he's been playing on Villa, it's a good trade. Still leaves Palu and Nesk up for Liquid as well. So the two main threats from Team Liquid in play.
Oh, well, the Kite-Claws have buffed the reinforced wall to be, so you gotta nade up and time it so it explodes to see if you can get it right here.
And he gets it.
That's big. That's the last grenade, the last way they could have broken that wall. Now Judo can be enabled. Open it up, grant them a second access point.
Oh, the smoke of Lagonis just scoots past it. Manages to get away, finds some safe harbor on that wall. Ness got an opportunity for a pick, but instead now he'll be blocked away by the Mountain, still in this position. Monty absorbing all those bullets. Impact grenades have denied the hard breach the damage that they needed to do. But Herds goes prone and takes matters into his own hands. The gunfire will hit Nesk. Advantage for W7M with 45 seconds to go. Volps will then take up more space inside of the bomb site. Amazingly, it's not the Montaigne who has the diffuser, it's Julio. So Volps doesn't need to be put in a vulnerable position as the Monty. All he needs to do is wait for Julio to get into the spot that Julio sees best. Both Julio and Volps taking some damage, as now that diffuser goes down, C4 goes out, it's not blocked. Both Volps and Julio go down for the count. And it's a 2v2 with Liquid making it a 2v1. JV92 moving up towards Statue, and he gets both of the kills! What the hell was that? W7M have now tied the game.
That's a snap and a half. I mean, Liquid, they didn't establish a, solid crossfire there. It goes both ways. Most clutches in Rainbow Six Siege comes down to a mistake somewhere in the server, and that right there is Liquid failing to establish the crossfire correctly, allowing just 0.5, if not less seconds. Look at that. It's such a tiny, tiny timing difference, but it's all he needs to make that work. Beautiful flick, great accuracy, and also got a great weapon against the SMG-11 itself in that long range. 4-4 tied up. I said it was going to be close, or at least I thought it was going to be close. Liquid, they were stealing the show for a couple of rounds, but W7M was striking back in great force. It's anyone's map for the taking, the final map in this best of 3. Winner goes to grand finals against BDS. Paolo had a great game so far. Nesk, same story for him. Great trade last round to Casey. Oh, we've lost a member, I believe. The W7M squad.
10 seconds to
and a second. They're just flying by right now. Off the board they go.
5 seconds to
2 left, 1 left.
Wow, what a dominant round for Team Liquid.
It's a fast one.
What a dominant round from Team
Got
Liquid.
spawn peaked before they even spawned. Of course, we will rehost that round. We're not going to actually play it on 5 versus 1. That would be completely unfair.
Do you remember the Let's Go rehost chant in Charlotte?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Just trying to make out what the crowd was saying there.
Some Liquid chants, I believe.
Well, there's the Let's Go. There it is. They're trying. They're not even trying to get in synchronization.
No, I think they're purposefully having like one guy started and then the other people go off. I think it's intentional. Oh, they're just bad at chanting together. I don't know. No, they're not. The crowd has spoken. When a pause like this arrives.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out if it's delivered as well.
I can't tell.
I liked when the Let's Go rehost chant started. The first one went out, and then the second person just did it louder. It's like, you just said what I said, but you just said it louder.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it goes with jokes in a crowd as well. Like, you tell a joke, no one laughs. Someone tells the same joke, but way louder, everyone loses their mind. And that was kind of my thing.
I just said that, and then you just said it, and now
they're laughing with you, not with me.
Well, yeah.
It's messed up, man. Give me some credit. A pause like this, of course, in this instance of being 4-4 a tied-up series, doesn't really favor one side. We can always make the argument if you're up significantly, momentum's on your side, you've won like 3-4 rounds in a row, etc. You'll always fight that, oh, the team that's losing is gaining, like, they can chill and breathe and figure things out and come back mentally. I wouldn't give any team, or either team rather, the edge here. It's Liquid, W7M both playing good Siege. It's close rounds, down to 1v1s. It's simple things, small decisions. It's clutches right now that has been the name of the game for round number 7 and round number 8. Both of those rounds was a clutch for W7M to bring the score back to a 4 versus 4. Now, because of the disconnects last round, we didn't really see the attacker repicks in effect, so I'm happy to see it now that Julio will once again, at least for now, opt for that Monty. And we saw Sonics use this crutch or trick, whatever term you want to put onto it, the Monty crutch. When nothing else works, attacker repick the Monty, and all of a sudden you're finding yourself winning round after round after round. And the thing is, The reason why they're so successful to play the Monty is because there aren't that many operators that you would play naturally that effectively fights this particular operator. Sure, you're always going to be in the smoke and defense, but that's really the only operator. That operator is on the bomb side. That's your anchor. You need to fight the Monty on the roam. That's why we talk about the Elad, the Lesion, the Echo, etc. And none of those operators are being brought out from Team Liquid. They can't really fight the Monty head-on because of this.
One thing I wanted to talk about is the similarities and differences with that Copa Elite 6 matchup that we saw between these two teams. It was a victory in favor of W7M. Again, the caster curse kind of comes in. I said, you know, whoa, it's 4-1 Team Liquid. All they need is a single round to match their total when they ultimately lost to W7M. Speaking of, Herds might be rewarded for his patience. He saw the body of one of those players from Team Liquid for a second. Still in that area. The very unique sound of the Montaigne pushing up. Herds missing yet another opportunity to end the lives of one of these Liquid players. Julia will absorb the bullets as Herds is waiting for a pre-fire, gets it on to Ask. Down he goes. Liquid suffering the first loss of this round, but they answer back. KZ, who's been the best player for W7M through this series, is removed from action. It's a 4v4 with just half the round to be played out.
And that's your pressure from a steady balcony. So the entire attack is on one side, plus that global gadget of blind scan is off the board. That makes the Monty roam push less effective. But as I mentioned, Liquid, they have no good way to clear out this Monty member. And oh, Julio, he doesn't overstand.
Oh! Nesk in a rat corner, if you want to call it that. Herds punishes him for it. That information was relayed successfully. So shotgun watching the doorway as the nade goes in. Just missing out on taking the Rotero drone down with it. And there we'll go. These Kiba barriers being broken open.
But this heavily favors Liquid. I mean, the bomb side's fortified, it's strong, you have no hard breach, you have the one flashbang, there's two flashbangs left, really. You can't really plant versus... Actually, I take it back, there's no C4, no sexy babes. You could absolutely plant here.
Oh my. Volps toying with it, sprints on in, down goes Palu. Herds traded out as Lagonas picks up a kill. Still in this position by Vault. Here's the diffuser going down. He has to contend with Volps. Where's Resets to come to the record, or to come to the help? He was in a position where he could have done something, but he doesn't accomplish it. W7M shuts down Team Liquid, and they gain the lead.
Now there's a problem. The exact problem that TSM had yesterday. Liquid needs to either play around the Monty in case it gets brought out, or they make the risk of not playing versus the Monty and operators, and if it gets brought, they are doomed. A tactical timeout is being called from Team Liquid. I think this is the absolute right time to do it because I would want my coach's input on what he believes are the problems right now. Is it the Monty? Is it the communication, the decision-making, the crossfires? I mean, go back to how Julia got taken down by Monty there. Nesk hit in the corner, got the Monty down, massive success. But there was a Kiba barrier blocking Nesk's re-entry back towards the bomb side, so he was forced to fight that second member, and the moment he fell, his teammate broke the Kiba barrier, allowing for a free entry back to the side, but it's too late. The play wasn't premeditated, or communicated at least, well enough for Nesk to have an escape once he got found out. There was no crossfire, and even if there were grenades on the attacking side to clear him out of that corner. So back to my point, either you try and counterplay the Monty with certain operators, it can be traps, it can be the Echo, it can be verticality, C4s, etc., crossfires in general, or you play your own game and you do not believe the Monty is that big of a problem, you just keep bringing your stable lineup and keep things the same. I will say, the dining kitchen bomb site is a bomb site where Monty doesn't get that much value. It's much harder to roam clear, it takes much longer time, and again, you can play this bomb site much more vertically, so it doesn't favor the Monty. I'll be very surprised if W7M went onto that operator for this particular bomb site attack, which can bring Liquid to that 5-5 round score, and all of a sudden, it's a close series again. But then you gotta go to a different bomb site, and that's when my question will arise once again. What kind of operator lineup will Liquid bring if they were to succeed on this bomb site defense?
Well, W7M started off on the wrong foot. They won round number 1, watched Team Liquid streak to 4 rounds. That's 4 rounds in a row for W7M to take the lead. Both teams using their timeout at this point. W7M have been perfect since using theirs. Liquid are going to hope for that same level of success. JV on the Twitch drone, going with the early scouting. Logic bombs go off too, and the drones that are in play from W7M will be able to relay that information to the remainder of their players as to who is upright and in what position. Another Twitch drone will go out from JV, as the first one had been quite successful on its voyage. Picking up on the Capkin traps is huge because, well, we've seen time and time again how teams can neglect to look down, end up getting punished for the fact that they walk through a doorway armed with explosives. Just ask TSM.
I mean, it's true. That did happen quite frequently. JV getting an absurd amount of intel from that singular Twitch drone. Second one also on the bottom side. But Lagonis, he finds both. Intel shut down. Ooh.
Nice play by Liquid, and that's the kind of start that they want. A jump scare for Lagonis as Herds is suddenly in the action, and Lagonis can find 2 picks. W7M's push falters, leaving Julio in a 1v4. 90 seconds left to go. Inside a pantry. It might as well be his tomb at this point. Liquid don't really need to do that much, just wait for him to get out of his position. A flashbang will go. Liquid does not swing onto him, but Ness pops up. It doesn't need to be a swing. Liquid break the streak, and now we have a tie game. All 12 rounds needed to settle the score on Villa. Overtime, exceptionally likely.
There is a question right now about bomb site priority. Liquid could go to Living Library, another vertical dynamic bomb site where Monty doesn't get that much effect. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen. I mean, Rogue, back in the Berlin Major, they played bar stage Clubhouse on the final OT round as well. So it has happened before. Now this is not OT, but we are slowly getting there, or rather, we're quickly getting there. They will go trophy instead. So the Monty question is on the board. The Arbiter lineup speaks to be more utility-oriented to the 9 lines of sight. Both the Keeper Barriers from Asami and the Castle Barricades from Lagonis, they can enable Liquid to play more aggressively throughout the map. So even if Monty were to be picked here, he can walk on in, but there's enough cover for Liquid and the members of the team to play around it. They're not going to be cut off by a single member on a window somewhere, because all of this line of sight will be denied, so it becomes a utility game instead. And look at the left-hand side of the screen. Volbs is going onto Monty because the bomb site is here. Now, more than likely, they see this master bedroom setup, they're not gonna go there. They're gonna go on the study side, because you always, typically with the Monty, wanna go from where the bomb site is not. And roam clear over, take that map control, set up the flank drones, get comfortable on the map, and then you can walk on into the bomb site with the Monty because you have that extended shield. That's a typical approach. However, W7M, they have a different strat in mind. They say we attack it head on. The thing is, with Team Liquid, no one's actually playing here. The Castle Barricades are there, the Q Barriers are there, there's no members. They might have been bamboozled.
You just got bamboozled. And there's another Keeper Barrier to go up as well. W7M will see these reinforcements that have been put up, and not just the physical reinforcements that the defenders have access to, but the Castle Barricades providing a very narrow window into the defense of Liquid. Here comes the utility to see what is on the other side. Cooking the flashbang. There it goes. EMP goes in as well. No frost mats, but a brief bit of a stun on the side of W7M. They take down resets on the very first skirmish, and there's another. Liquid are just going to single file peek. Herds is making them pay for it. Grenade goes off and damage is done to Ask, as we had seen the Montaigne of Volps continue to charge forward. It's the halfway point. This time last round, W7M only had a single player up, Palu and Liquid. Palu and Ask of Liquid dealing damage. KZ and Herds are gone. You gotta think that they feel confident. These have been the 2 offensive threats so far for W7M. And the Monty is up, which means that Julio and JV are on an escort mission. Diffuser's being planted. It'll have to be a retake from Liquid. Smokes go out as well to distract and keep them away. Liquid boxed out of the bomb site to walk on in. Spam pings. JV sees the smoke clear. Palu obliterates him on that play.
Operators need to protect the diffuser.
The Monty being watched by Julio, who sees the alibi of Ask. Julio tries to drop, can't do it. The Montaigne is left alone. Palu guns them down. And it's Team Liquid on series point, 1 round away from a grand final.
Team Liquid just overcame one of the most difficult things in Rainbow Six Siege, a retake when the attackers have bombs at control in a 3 versus 3 with the bomb already being planted. It's unheard of. I mean, we've seen teams try and attempt this so many times throughout this tournament, and I didn't really think it was going to work out because it just didn't seem possible or likely, but it did, and it brings Liquid to match point. They're not going to go library. They're disappointing me in this scenario because I think it's the right play to combat the Monty, but they say they know better. They're going to change the operator lineup, though. I think Ask on this Goyo could be huge. Time is ticking down. When the Monty walks in, you pop that canister, he starts taking damage. It's harder to plan for the attackers. It all really boils down to, however, what happens on the roam. In the last time that we just witnessed, Hertz got 2 kills in the first minute and a half of that initial entry onto Master Bedroom. Last time we saw Team Liquid defend AVG, same story. Team Liquid, they lose the initial gunfight and the second one follows along, and you play 4 versus 3 or 5 versus 3, always playing from behind. If Liquid could come out ahead or equal on the first 2 minutes on the clock, whether it's trading 1-for-1 in the 4 versus 4 or falling back earlier in the round and just keeping your members alive, either way, that's how I would approach this round. Because when you start losing those numbers, things get really tough for you. And it's Julio and Volps trading back and forth on the Monty. 1 round at a time, KC on the line again with the Dokkaebi. They want to focus this roam play with these operators.
Well, the story is the timeouts proving to be so successful for these teams. Oh, Hertz so close to a first pick. Will get one on to Ask. W7M desperate to push to overtime.
It's a great start for them. And I mean, I guess the curse to be honest, the early round has to go in favor of the defenders. Otherwise, that's when W7M take control. That's what's going to happen now. And look how much time they're taking. They know they got a huge pick. They've popped open 1 canister already. They can drone out every corner of this map, and they can do one Dokkaebi phone call to ensure that no one's hiding anywhere and just progress nice and slowly through this worm clear.
Hertz is being given so much space and opportunity enabled by the drone work and intel gathering from his teammates. And with it, W7M have been sharp on these first engagements, even in the previous round.
Yeah.
Liquid were able to come back, but imagine how much more of a dominant round that is if you don't have Hertz pick up those first 2 picks.
You're right. Absolutely right. Palu is in the basement, by the way, right now. You can see his outline, so he could go for a flank. He is the Vigil. He cannot get seen by drones, and that gadget is active. That could really be one way for Lit to get back into the round. Goyo canisters. The second Toxic Babe already popped with 1:15 to go. You have no C4s. It's hard. You gotta get a kill somewhere if you're Liquid.
Well, Gone 6 and both those pocket EMPs from the Dokkaebi have now been used. Not just hiding from the drones, the Vigil also invisible when KZ uses Lion's gadgets. Hertz another kill, but KZ is dropped. He won't be able to influence much at all. Paulu's made his way up to the top floor. Lagona's taking some damage, Nesk as well. Liquid getting in some lumps before taking a beating themselves. W7M with only 45 seconds left. And Liquid don't have a lot of HP. Paulu's still riding this out inside of Trophy, but he can't outduel JV. Lagonas and Nesk will need to work together to clutch this round and secure Team Liquid a berth in the grand finals tomorrow. Lagonas sees the Dokkaebi of Volps, can't do much about it. Nesk position inside of the bomb site. The Monty of Julio getting the diffuser down. Nesk blindly spraying in, more damage done to Lagonas, and Nesk stops it in its tracks. Suddenly 2 kills for Liquid has put them in great position, but the newest member of Liquid in the final 10 seconds has to clutch. The diffuser going down. Can he fly in under the radar? No, Hertz prevents him. The clutch from Liquid won't be there. Overtime to settle the deal between W7M and Team Liquid.
Feels right. I mean, you see a dominant map 1 from one team, dominant map 2 from the opposite, and then map 3 goes into overtime. And if you had any strats left, anything in your pockets that you have not already showcased, it's time to empty those pockets right now. I mean, we see it, we can already assume it. It's gonna be a multi-force in every bomb site attack besides the downstairs bomb sites. Liquid, they have a choice to make and they've made it right now. They're gonna go back to AVG. They lost that, again, initial opening kill that KC found. That's gotta be it. It gave them so much value, so much control on that map immediately. And it really flipped things on its head. Same bomb sites, same operators, or the mirror rather is a new one from Palu. I'm curious to see where they put those mirror windows. They can extend either on the roam, they can extend downstairs. It's gonna be a vault mirror. It's a stable and a classic one at that. And if Liquid can hold downstairs control and W7M go for the same attack, they now have C4s for the plant and to counter the Munty. Now they don't have a pulse, there's no echo being brought, there's no information besides your eyeballs, but 2 C4s. One can get spent rather aggressively early on, see if you can get a pick. The second one you can save for that plant scenario. Because Liquid, they keep on having to aggress into the members of W7M, holding them stuck because there's no plant deny on the board. Those toxic babes are getting burned really quickly because of how fast W7M are acting.
Liquid's 2 chances on defense. They'll be given at least 1 crack at it. In terms of this map itself, the attackers having the upper hand on both sides. 4-2 for Team Liquid on their attacking side. W7M 4-2 as well. So W7M will be very confident and certainly very comfortable as they stay on this same side that they were just on. It's amazing that W7M have kept it so close on this half, especially since coming back in 4 rounds ago without Julio and KZ being able to do much. It's been Herds who has carried this team through those rounds, being excellent on the entry, picking up 2 first kills, and then also doubling up on them in the last 2 rounds. They fell short in round number 11, but it was good enough to carry the team over the top in round number 12, which is what has pushed us into overtime.
No hot breach from W7M. They cannot get rid of these mirror windows besides taking map control against it. KC with a great twitch drone gets shot down by Lagonis. Bombs is under watch. I mean, again, the C4s, that's where my attention is at right now, how they get utilized.
And Herds, once again, who was so good, distracted by a Banshee, but he can't do much in this round. Won't be able to get secured. Palu pulling out the sidearm. Volps is there in tow. Liquid answers back, though, and down goes KZ, still unable to find a kill through the last 5 rounds. JV watches the fire burn in front of him. Aviator just a couple steps away. Julio's the one with the diffuser.
I mean, they gained what they wanted, downstairs control, and they got that pick. 1C4 gone off the board, 2 toxic babes and 1C4 to go for Liquid.
Oh, Volps finds an opportunity as Lagonis in the middle of the bomb site goes for a rotate. It's ill-advised smoke that forces the defenders into a more favorable position. The Nitro Cell shot out by Volps, and there goes a grenade tossed away. Volps trying to isolate the Goyo, but resets is on the flank, shutting down Julio, and Ask seals the deal as Liquid move back to series point.
Again, it's the aggression from Liquid that really is making the difference for them because the utility is not working out. I mean, Volps played that round beautifully, snuck into office, shot down the smoke, toxic babe's gone, vaults up on the box, hits the C4 mid-air. The plan can now go down. When it comes down to a flank from Study, there's an oversight for W7M, and it got abused by Liquid. They found the opening right there. That C4 shot opens everything up, but Reset says no. W7M going back to defense. They have not been there for a long time. And they choose, I mean, AVG's the place. Both teams, they want it so bad. Whether they win or lose this bomb site, they go back whenever they're able to. Any chance they're given. Same story. They're both playing the Go, they're both playing the Smoke, they're both playing the Mirror. JV on the Kaid. I mean, it's a 3rd C4. Big fan of that. Hot breach, not really being used by either team. I don't think we've seen any walls being opened up for the last, what, 4 or 5 rounds because it hasn't mattered. You just walk on in. Liquid, of course, they do not play the Munty themselves, so them not bringing any hot breach can cost them. They gotta find kills for openings. They can't just force the way through the map the same way. But sure, resets on the Dokkaebi can help you get some information, try and get a kill with it. And if you can hack a phone, you gain very little value because there's no information, no bulletproof cameras, no echo, no maestro. So the phone call is the main goal and the main area where Dokkaebi will grant you any sort of value. One Meteor drone shot down the main stairs. They're going to try to sneak it on in to get that deployable shield, but it got stopped.
One more round is correct, crowd. Look at them learning math. They grow up so fast. Liquid have done the unthinkable by winning that defensive round. Again, attackers very much favored here, but we do see these odd occasions where it flips in overtime.
We actually do.
Suddenly, oh, the defenders actually win all 3 of their rounds, and it really goes down to who gets the extra round to defend or to attack, depending on what the vibe is.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting so many reps in right now on ABG for both sides, and we see these small changes in performance, right? Ask on Twitch to shut down the Guru, that's a counter pick. JV plays the Kaid, well, joke's on you. Liquid don't even play Heartbreach, so you're always trying to be in the mind of the enemy's team and how they are strategically going to play that next following round. And they both have a very good read on one another and what they're going to do.
Yeah, the Twitch is going to get so much value here with the Goyo canisters on the board. There goes another one, just by the model. You've also got the 2 black mirrors of Volps on Mira and the Kaid claws if you spot them. Oh, Nesk is making his own opportunities. 2 huge picks for Nesk because he wants a grand final, but there's 3 Nitro cells for W7M. 1 has hit its mark. Liquid answers back with herds being felled. KZ has dropped 2. Volps will need the clutch of his life, and he starts with a single kill. But you ask and you shall receive. Team Liquid will move to the grand finals.
Not just that, but Nesk, he does it right. We asked him, where is he when it matters the most? And he gets 1 kill, the second to follow, so much control. And sure enough, he gets punished. But he gave Liquid the opening and the confidence to go forward as a unit and get that round.
It's been months since a team was able to defeat W7M. And they beat Team Liquid both times they came head-to-head in the Copa Elite 6. But who's laughing now as Liquid gets their revenge? A major championship has eluded Nesk his whole career, and when talking about the greatest people to ever play this game, the argument against Nesk time and time again is that he's never won it when he's been on the biggest stage. Well, Nesk has an opportunity yet again to prove everybody wrong, and the rest of Liquid will go into battle against BDS tomorrow, where one of those teams will win their first major championship.
Let's not forget that Lagonis could be the second player to win 2 majors, joining Ken to win those ranks, because Lagonis is kind of flying under the radar. He's not a rookie.
No.
He played with Team 1, and they won a major before.
And it was Lagonis' team that in the semifinals defeated Nesk's Team Liquid when Team 1 was on that miracle run to win the major championship in Mexico. There's been some issues with Team Liquid that we have seen over the last couple months. Consistency has not always been there for them, but boy, oh boy, this was a performance. This was a statement match, as we call it, against a team that throughout this entire event has looked unbeatable. And once again, an 18-match win streak for W7M, broken by Liquid, and it's Liquid's game to lose as they go up against BDS in the grand finals tomorrow. Either Shaiko or Nesk will become a major championship, and that is a story that will be told throughout the history of our esport.
It will be, and W7M, they seem to only fall to other Latin teams, right? It happened against FaZe in Berlin, and now here against Team Liquid, no other region seems to be able to beat them.
Well, they've earned themselves a spot on the stage tomorrow, but they've also earned an interview, and we're certain that you want to hear from the victors of Team Liquid, so let's hear what they have to say on stage.
Intero Pengu, thank you very much. I know this crowd wants to make some noise for Liquid and Palu right now. Here we are again. Another winner's interview for yourself. W7M, you take them out of this tournament. They were undefeated coming into this semi-final. That was one heck of a battle.
Yeah, for sure it was. Like, the second map was really tough for us. Like, we kind of were, the start of the rounds were really good. Like, we were like going forward, but we couldn't finish the rounds. Like, at the middle, we were getting like some kills off the play. So most of the time we were like just kind of lost the finalization of the rounds, and was most of it. But we could get it back. Like on the third map, we could like do a lot of attacks. We kind of struggled a little at the beginning with our defense, but we could bring it back.
Well, to come back from a 7-0 defeat on Skyscraper takes some serious mental resilience, and you really showed that there. What did it take behind the scenes for you to get the team back together and make sure that you came back swinging on map 3?
For real, like Skyscraper is like one of our best maps. We didn't know exactly what went like wrong. We were like really have some struggles on the stacks, as I said. So like we just talked like it won't happen the third map. It's like was different stuff that we never faced or we'll never face again. And let's keep going. We did like a lot of studies behind them, and that was it.
Now, you said on this stage yesterday that this is Liquid's year. Now, the last time that you and Nesk, correct me if I'm wrong, were in a grand final was SI21, right? Do you have, we talked about mental resilience, we talked about the pressure that comes with being part of Team Liquid. With an EU crowd at a grand final, at a major, against an EU team, do you have what it takes to get the job done?
Yeah, we definitely have.
Are you not at all intimidated? Did you hear how loud the crowd were a little bit earlier on? This is, of course, they are going to be very pro BDS. Are you prepared for that? And how do you think you'll deal with it?
Yeah, we're gonna do like as we always do. Like in Brazil, we are usually to play with a lot of crowd, and they scream a lot. So I don't think we will feel the pressure. We are just going to make our game, and we're gonna beat them.
Lagonis, of course, as well, knows what it takes to win a major. How much will you be relying on his experience as well tomorrow?
He's kind of so good. Like right now, we are doing an extremely good like job behind the scenes. Like Cunha and Nugu are doing like a lot of stuff, like studying other teams, and we have a lot of new games, a lot of new strategies to bring like for all the games, you know.
You know what? It's a tough one for me because obviously I'm an EU man, but I'm a big Palu fan. I love Team Liquid as well. So one thing that we are guaranteed is an epic best of 5 tomorrow on Grand Finals Day here in Jönköping. This man thinks he can get the job done. BDS and the EU crowd maybe think otherwise, but to pick apart what was an amazing semi-final that went all the way, we are going to cross over now back onto the desk with Milos, Anne, and Fresh.
Thank you very much, Ian. Yes, we are back on the analyst desk, and we got some details to talk about because we went to map 3, and it got tight. Going to overtime was incredible. I'm very happy that we actually had that opportunity to witness those rounds, to witness Palu at work. This man, probably one of the best to ever touch Rainbow Six ever. So here we are. I'm Milos. Hello. Here's Anne and Fresh, as Ian was saying. But how are we feeling after this?
Feeling very good. It's been a really good matchup. You said you wanted unlimited overtime. I think this matchup would have maybe deserved unlimited overtime with how good and how close it was. And you know how we talked about defense being the key, right? It was actually, in my opinion, the attack that was the major key to Liquid winning this eventual matchup. Against W7M, they were only able to win 2 attacks during the Copa Elite Finals, and here they won 4 attacks, doing significantly better, also doing significantly better than they did against FaZe. There were a few rounds that they had barely any information left, but the team play was very good.
And I think, especially after we'd seen Skyscraper, where Skyscraper, they weren't attacking well, they weren't doing the defaults, they weren't cutting rotates, they weren't going through their processes of what an attack looks like. I was very worried for them on Villa, and they came out and they basically came out and they played a textbook Villa attack. Got themselves the 4-2 split. It then got a little bit shaky. It then got a little bit shaky when Julio was jumping on the Monty and W7M were pulling a few rounds back. But the casters called it out. Intero and Pengu called it out in the game. That timeout for Team Liquid was absolutely massive. How they had a breather, figured out, right, W7M, their crutch factor is the Monty. Can we deal with this? Yes. They found a way, they changed sites, they brought in the Goyo, they changed a way to deal with the Monty, got to overtime, and then it looked, they were happy on the attack, and they were happy with dealing with the Monty. got the job done. Just.
We've seen so many teams play Monty, and almost at a point where it comes to maybe abusing the Monty's power a little bit, but his power significantly gets worse the moment you lose all the teammates around a Monty. And I think that was what Team Liquid did specifically well. It was Hurts getting a lot of injuries, but then Liquid reacted to that very well by killing all the enemies, all the teammates around the Monty, making it significantly easier for them. And eventually, what became key as well is Liquid defending Aviator in their regular rounds wouldn't win it. When they went into overtime, it's very risky to then pick the side you've never won in regulation. And then they pick it, and they win it, putting themselves on that map point, and then from there on just blazing guns and winning it in an 8-6 fashion.
Honestly, a massive shout out to Volps, who, despite losing this game very, very close, he did an incredible job on the Nook, but especially the Amaru. If you saw earlier, I mean, the man's just gunning through, pulls out the SMG-11. It doesn't make you faster when you pull, it's not like a pistol, but still, you know, that reaction time to take an incredibly difficult engagement and take control of that, basically the one hallway that you need to hold, just making it so Smoke can't do anything. Honestly, that moment is just now engraved in my head, despite the loss. So, you know, W7M, or like L7M, who knows? Let's take a look at our summary here and see what it looks like. 8-6 again, incredibly close game, and I'm very happy. I like Villa. I like to see it be so close.
This might actually be a matchup where the MVP isn't on the winning team.
Yeah.
If you look at Hurts, we spoke about him having a very slow first map. It's like it gradually got better during the second, and now the third map going 17 and 12 with a cost of 71%, also pretty decent. The performance, I think, on Liquid, which we have seen throughout the entirety of the tournament, is more team-based. There are players stepping up, and it is a solid front line and a solid back line, but they are very much working together, and that's what we very much saw in this last map.
And do you know who stepped up in that very final round? And it's not somebody that's... We've spoken about Liquid at length, and I'm talking about the group stages of the casters and us in terms of the desk as well. We've spoken about Lagonis. Then we spoke about Palu and how he's the front line, about how an Ask and Resets got this more experience, got this opportunity spawn. We've not spoken about Nesk. He's had a very quiet tournament, just like Brede LF BDS. He stepped up when it mattered today in that very final round of the best of 3 in, you know, 8-6 match point, or 7-6 match point. Can't do maths, it's late. And makes a massive play, down 19 to long. And yeah, he only went 14 and 12. Won't be the MVP, but that was an MVP play. He made the play, he got the job done.
Who is the MVP? Do you have the graphic ready? We can pull it up on the screen if you are. And it's Palu. Okay, not surprising. Look, if I could, I would make Palu the MVP of the entire tournament just right now. Man's incredible. He's one of the best players to ever touch the game. No two words around it. I mean, Mandy hasn't tweeted about Palu yet. She's tweeted like every other player, but yeah, she's coming.
Exactly, she's got to. And I'm beyond excited to see him face off against, you know, together with his Team Liquid, face off against BDS tomorrow. I don't think there's any grand final I could have imagined that was going to be more exciting.
Yeah.
The amount of times these two teams, that I've stood on a desk for both of these two teams tomorrow and said, they're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Tomorrow, one of them will become the bride.
Wow.
These two teams will, you know, if they never win a major, these two teams would have gone down as the best two teams to never win a major.
What if the bridesmaids just want to be single and live their life?
You're telling me we're having a wedding tomorrow?
Oh, congrats. Whose is it? Well, whoever wins this game, right? BDS and Liquid, just like the caster was talking about and we were talking about in the pregame, BDS has never lifted this sort of trophy. Yes, they've won a G8. They've also won at the Japan Invitational. That's kind of a different vibe. This is an official matchup. This leads with SI points, even though they don't need it. But this is the kind of metric that we're looking at. And Liquid, yes, they won OGA Pit. It was a qualification that they needed to go to SI. And I know G2 is listening right now, maybe the old ones. But what happened there? Sorry, Jack. You weren't technically on the squad, though. Anyways, on the other side, we're looking at Liquid, that Nesk was able to lift the trophy at the Pro League, but that was ages ago.
Yeah.
7 Atlantic City. I mean, that was, what, May of 2018. Knock, knock. I know, realization for all of us. It's been 4.5 years.
Wow.
Since then. Yeah, we're getting old. But Siege's gotten only better since then, which means it's even bigger of an achievement should you be able to win. So personally, I think that BO5 is going to be real good. Very much looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be probably about as competitive as Berlin as well. Like these two teams, you know, just as a quick preview, it's like these two teams, massive map pools, star players, backlines, so experienced. Like I can't think of two better teams to match off in terms of a spectacle than these two teams out of the 4 semi-finalists.
Specifically how you mentioned the back and the front line. Yeah, I think there's definitely like the rivalries that Alfama mentioned as well between former teams. These teams obviously have these shorter rivalries as well. You have the front players that will really go off against each other, the backline players that will be of great importance for both these teams. We saw Bride pop off earlier today, but Lagonis can obviously do that too. So I think I might just need to go to bed very, very quickly so I...
Yeah, we're all going to need to...
Cricket tomorrow.
It's like Christmas Eve right now, Mila.
Yeah, it's
literally like
that,
Christmas Eve.
yes.
And tomorrow will be literally Boxing Day. It's like Christmas and Boxing Day.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is. What's Boxing Day?
The day after
Christmas
Christmas
Day.
Day.
Is it? Well, there you go. There's 2 combinations, and we're all getting gifts here at Jönköping. Very excited. You can tell it's quite late. It's 20 to midnight. So, yes.
Wow.
My favorite song is 2 minutes to midnight, but here we are. It's like 22 minutes to midnight. BDS versus Team Liquid. It's set in stone. They're in tomorrow for a best-of-5 grand final. Cannot wait for the classic EU versus... There you go. Shout out to the crowd today that stayed very late into the night to catch all the action here. So you guys get a well-deserved rest. We'll be back and fresh for tomorrow's matchup. Speaking of fresh, you'll be here tomorrow.
I will.
You'll be here tomorrow. Alfama will also be with us tomorrow for us to talk details. I was able to break down some plays earlier on today, so we get to do more of that tomorrow.
Can't wait.
All right. Is it time for us to end it? Let's update you on the schedule. There it is, 3 p.m. CET. That's, what, how many hours from now? Do you want to count with me?
No. I'll let you do it on your own.
I'm very bad doing maths under pressure. And
16 and a half hours from now.
thank you for doing that whilst I was talking. I really appreciate it. I don't have to do it myself.
I hope I didn't mess it up. But there it is. That's 1500 CET tomorrow for all those that are watching from North America. That'll be 6 hours back. So it'll be 9 a.m. for you if you're on the East Coast. And Brazil, I believe that'll be 11 a.m., if I'm not mistaken, in Sao Paulo time. There you go. A lot of fun. I'm very excited for tomorrow. And usually when I start to ramble, it means that I'm very tired, as my fiancé has told me. So I'm going to start wrapping things up. Jack, thank you very much. And thanks so much for today. Thank you very much to Alfama, who joined us on the desk earlier on, and also to our wonderful casters present here in Jönköping, our wonderful crowd that really put up the numbers today, I have to say. And all of you watching at home, stay safe, sleep tight, because tomorrow it's time for the grand final. Till then, we love you. Good night.